Can you guys hear me? Testing, testing, testing. I think I was muted the whole time, so I'll just say this again. I'm not here alone. I've got Maverick with me, and he's going to help me review nights 1 and night 2 of your WrestleMania 41 two-night wrestling extravaganza event. Uh, okay, so Maverick is still getting together. I'm here.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, never mind. He is here. What's going on, Amber? What's going on, everybody in the comments? That boy, what's that say? That boy, Dare, what? That boy, Dare Draskell. What? What's going on, Third Eye? Chris Conscience. Chris Conscience is actually backstage, and I know he was watching WrestleMania Night 2. I don't know if you watched WrestleMania Night 1, but I got Maverick in the house. We're gonna take this thing apart bit by bit. I'm trying to pull back up the results for both WrestleManias, just so that I can give you guys my opinion realistically in real time on everything that happened. And also, wait a minute, I'm seeing some footage. Oh, this is old. Okay. Man, I just saw some footage. EO Sky took a really nasty fall on Monday Night Raw. I don't know what happened there. I don't watch this show, but I think that was a brutal fall I just saw.
Yeah, she
Uh,
she hit pretty hard on her neck. There was a lot of speculation if she was okay going into concussion protocol, but she ended up being all right, and
well,
obviously she was able to be at the show tonight.
when the hell was that? I'm assuming it was on Monday.
Yeah, it was this past Monday. She was in a match. I believe it was with Meechin. Maybe it was BFAB, one of the two. I know it was with one of Jade's buddies, or maybe it was Jade. But obviously they've been feuding with Rhea, and
Yeah.
Io and Rhea having their partnership. They had their match this past Monday, and she went for a suicide dive, and like I said, she missed and hit pretty hard.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, I would show y'all this footage, but I don't want them to take this video down. So I don't know. It's very sensitive here on this platform, but definitely go check that out. You know what I mean? That was a nasty spill. Uh, but we're going to be taking some questions as well as asking each other questions. And you never know what can come out of this. We're reviewing nights 1 and night 2. First thing I want to say is, y'all go ahead and share this with your friends and your family. Let everybody know. Send them the link. Because we're going to be talking about this event. I know. Uh, I'm looking at Chaotix. It looks like DJ Chaotic is going to be going live in 54 minutes and 12 seconds on his channel. So definitely hop over to them on the Chaotic Syndicate HQ, which is a part of our partnership here on the channel. And definitely smash that like button like I just did for their shows as well. Should be good. But over on this side, you're gonna get my brutal, honest opinion along with Maverick's uh, perspective on the matter as well. These are gonna be two different complete sides coming at you. My understanding of the wrestling, his understanding. So it should be interesting for a good mix and match. And I mean, it's always good anytime you could get me a Maverick with a live microphone. But yeah, anything is possible. Good times. I'm excited to be here live. It's good to be back. We definitely got some pressure coming you guys' way with the next JTV Mega Rush show. It's gonna blow your mind. And anything you might want to say, Maverick, before we kick this thing off.
No, not right now. Let's get going.
All right. So just making sure that I can get this show up. Just make sure that I can get this show so that I can also share for those, share with some people real quick. I can see we are live. Just gonna make sure that I get the link. Bada bing, bada boom. Gonna put that shit in the chat real quick. Boom. Oh, somebody already did. Thank you for that, Damien. And now we're just gonna tag everybody. Thank you for that. Made my job easier. So let's talk about WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2. And thank y'all to all the new subscribers that I've seen recently. Shout out to y'all. Okay. So I'm gonna go off of the dome with this. I got Maverick to back me up in case I forget something or I get something wrong. Just in case, I want to make sure because I want to go step by step by step by step, and there's gonna be something that I need to talk about that's been going on pretty much the whole fucking time of WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So I'm gonna get to that very, very quickly. All I have to do is just make sure that I get to the first piece of business. Okay. So first piece of business that I need to talk about with this WrestleMania 2 night event, and then Maverick could chime into it as well. The first thing, the first significant thing that I want to talk about is John Cena. John Cena was featured as part of this 2-day event and felt like nothing more than fucking clickbait. It felt like he was just there to sell the event. He was just there, to fill in essentially. And when it comes to the filling in for John Cena with this event, it's very interesting because this fucking event was filled with nothing but fucking commercials. I have never seen a fucking wrestling show in my life out of all the bullshit ass WWE shows that I've watched over the years before Vince McMahon left and when Vince McMahon left and I tried to watch like this fucking WrestleMania. This WrestleMania was fuming, spamming. There was so many fucking commercials during this fucking WrestleMania that you can literally add them to the fucking WWE roster and they can be on-screen performers. That's how many fucking commercials there were at this fucking WrestleMania that you can build the whole fucking World Series baseball team around it. You know what I mean? There was so many fucking commercials at these WrestleManias that if you got jumped and got into a fucking fight, they could probably back you up because there's strength in numbers. That's how many fucking commercials there were at this fucking double 2-night WrestleMania. So the fact that John Cena was there, I mean, it's the whole sales thing, to try to generate people to watch the fucking event. They lured people in with the shit, uh, and that became what that became. Before I turn it over to Maverick, I think John Cena being brought in to sell this WrestleMania was the right thing to do. I think that I don't know that Cena delivered, but I think that Cena did his part and his role. And to open up at least night 1 before we get to night 2, I'd say that it's a positive thing that they did. It wasn't a bad thing, but it was comedic because it was so desperate. And now we flip it to you, Maverick. Your thoughts on John Cena opening night one of WrestleMania?
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. And it goes for both nights. I just put out my review for the show for the tonight show, and I said the same thing that I said the first night. It felt like him coming out. He didn't really know what to do, what to say. It just seemed like he was there. It seemed like he was there to um, it seemed like he was there to just be another big star. He was there, like you said, to sell tickets. And did it do its job? I mean, they sold more tickets. I know on Friday alone, I believe was the day, they sold over 4,000 tickets. Um, and obviously you're going to see that as you see more people coming into Las Vegas, going to the box office and getting tickets and such. Um, I just thought it was very lackluster. I thought you could have done more with him. I thought they did more with him tonight than they did with him last night. And again, I
I agree.
know I know we'll get to night one or night two shortly. Um, and going to the commercials. I know you were a big. Not only you, it was everyone, myself included. I know Corey was one of them. To name him, there were a lot of people that were very, very, very upset with the way that the commercials were ran. If you notice something, and I'm not going to try to like back them up or whatever, but or try to give them credit or anything like that. But what I am going to say is, um, if you notice, when WWE was on pay per view, you could go, you buy it from your TV provider, so on and so forth. You didn't have commercials. Why? Well, WWE was making so much money from their pay per view sales. They didn't need to run the commercials. They didn't need to run the ads. But now that WWE was put on Peacock and they were put on ESPN, you started to see more ads. Um, if you were watching on Netflix, and this is from my understanding, I don't know if this is true or not. If you were watching on Netflix, it seemed like most people just saw a we're in a commercial break, flashing screen with, different like languages and different things. And then it would come back once the commercial break with ESPN was over. Um, do I agree with how many commercials they ran? No. Is it okay to run a couple? Sure. If you're running it to, talk about, oh, well, we've got this big show coming up, or, oh, go to www.shop.com tonight. That's normal. That's normal stuff to, plug and do. But like, I'm sitting here watching the same Ram commercial every 30 minutes, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we showing all these commercials when we just want to see some action? We want to see the matches. We want to see backstage segments. We want to see these different things. And so I think that was one of the big things that ruined this show was the commercials. The commercials ruined the entire thing. And I hate that they did that. And I hope that they learn moving forward, not only WWE but ESPN, because I will say a lot of this goes on ESPN. This is ESPN's streaming platform. This is what their people are running the stream for WWE. And it was awful. It was garbage. As many commercials as I saw, you could have fit so many more matches in. You could have put so many backstage segments in. Where was the backstage segments? And I know we'll talk more about that a little later in the show, but it was just, I don't know. It just threw me for a loop.
Absolutely, I agree. You know, and we could talk about some of that because it was a very important factor for the two nights that I feel the same way. It's very disappointing to watch a professional wrestling event and you don't have sort of, you know, the little wordplay that we're accustomed to with a WWE show going on. You don't have anybody getting interviewed backstage. You don't see anybody warming up. Nothing compelling, interesting going on in the backstage area. There's no life in the backstage area, to WrestleMania night one and night two. Um, we're talking about night one right now. I'm not seeing any life. There's no life. There's nothing interesting going on. Nothing compelling going on. There's nothing. Nothing. There's nothing going on back there. All you're getting is 3 minute commercials, 2 minute commercials, 4 minute commercials. And then after the fucking commercial's done, you're getting an additional sneak commercial, and why the fuck not? You get an extra commercial after that just for fun,
And
and
well, and something that was interesting to me, and I don't know if you've noticed this, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, and it's probably not a huge deal. Um, there was not one single like WWE shop commercial. There was not one single. The only WWE promo that I'm pretty sure that I saw throughout the entire weekend was them promoting WrestleMania 43 in Riyadh. That's the only commercial that I saw them promoting their own stuff. And I just sat there and I was like, why are you not promoting your stuff more? Why are you not? Because there was a massive sale going on WWE Shop this weekend. Why didn't you talk about that? And it was interesting to me because they never did that. And normally that's something that they do. It was just interesting to me that it was more so um the ads that they were running were ads regarding ESPN. And then, they had, again, like I said, their sponsors. They had some Ram commercials, some Snickers commercials, some different things like that. Um, but they were running a lot of ESPN ads. They were running the inside the NBA ads. They were running and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, ESPN has straight up ruined what this is. We're supposed to be sitting here watching wrestling, and all ESPN wants to do is run ads. So what's going on? And again, like I said, I will give WWE credit for that. As someone who is in the broadcast field, that is one thing that is out of their control. Is that the people that are putting on the stream, they can legitimately do whatever they want. They could run 10-minute ads if they really wanted to. And WWE, will they get part of that money? Absolutely. But they won't get all of it. ESPN will get some of it as well. They get some of that ad revenue as well. And so, again, giving them a little bit of credit, that's on ESPN. And I hope ESPN hears the noise, and I hope that they try to fix their thing. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
well, folks, you heard it here first, right from the mouth of the sheep himself. Maverick's giving you his side on how he felt about that. I personally felt like it was just too much fucking ads going on. I mean, this fucking company. I I'm trying not to get started here, folks. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to open the Bible of Impact, the Book of Impact, and go through every page. But geez, I mean, you want to talk about a fucking wrestling event? Where the fuck is the passion? We got to see a little bit of that passion tonight, but it shined through the superstars. It didn't shine through fucking creative. What saved night two, in my opinion, was the effort, determination, the talent, that was going on with the wrestlers. The wrestling matches were barely saved this event because it was just an absolute fucking disaster. Uh, if the wrestling matches weren't going to be good, they were able to turn something around in part two, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that night two. Uh, in terms of night one, because of the commercials and the ads, it really took away from the event. It gave it a really dry, simplistic, bland feel. And I don't know about you guys. I guess there's a lot of you fans out there that watch this stuff that are really cool and really happy, and you get really hyped about this fucking dry ass, drywall fucking product that is just wrestling matches, And as somebody who has tried, professional wrestling, IRL or non-IRL, I mean, I've given it a shot. I know what it is. I love this business. I'm always gonna love this fucking business. It's my life. It's my passion. But you know, people when it comes to a wrestling event, and I have to be selective when I say this because things have changed now. Okay, my neck of the woods where I come from, it wouldn't be acceptable for you to have a wrestling event where nothing's going on. That shit is fucking boring. Where is the cinema? But you got a lot of you fans now that watch this shit and are okay with just wrestling matches. Nothing else is going on. You know what I mean? It's just transition to transition, and then it's just another wrestling match. You're not getting a backstage story, promo segment, nothing. For me, speaking on my end, you know, that's the type of stuff that I like. You know what I mean? We came up on Mean Gene Oakland interviewing Hulk Hogan and all these other guys. You know, we came up on something crazy going on in the backstage area. The backstage area shit is supposed to be important. It plays into the fucking show. Even if you want to do something minor, you know. I noticed that over the years they started relying on some of these camera shots where everybody's coming into the arena, this and that, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? That adds to the show, even if they want to do their little fucking pivoting with the putting people in the crowd and interviewing them in the crowd, and little practices like that they started doing, that I'm like, you know, that adds to the show. Anything, anything. Just don't fucking run a show where it's just matches and matches and matches and matches and matches and there's nothing else going on. I don't know. I can't speak for you guys, but for me, that's fucking boring. Okay. So you want to add to that, Maverick, or do we go to the first match before I continue?
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to that really quick before we go to the first one. Again,
Mike's all yours.
um, I couldn't agree with you more. It felt like that there were just not. It didn't feel okay. I heard somebody say this earlier. Night one did not feel like WrestleMania. I'll be honest. Night two didn't feel like WrestleMania, but it had that feel to it. It had a bigger feel to it than night one did.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, in years past, we've had segments with people like Stone Cold Steve Austin. We've had segments, whenever he was here, God rest his soul, Hulk Hogan. We had all these different people coming in and creating moments and segments. Where were the moments? Cody Rhodes, you know, had a small little segment after his match was over, which we'll get to. And I mean, I'm just like, like where was that? Like, why were there not any backstage segments? Like, you had Danhausen of all people, who you allowed to only have really one segment on the show, the entire weekend, other than his blimp that he had flying around in the stadium on night one. Um, but you had him, a person that thrives in backstage segments, who you had doing nothing. You had John Cena, who was backstage, who could have done so much. Have Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis do something. Maybe tease, the upcoming Raw, SmackDown. Maybe talk about the draft if that's going to happen. Nobody knows, but maybe tease it. Show me some, like, I know somebody was saying, walk through Gorilla and then interview them as they come through. That would be dope. But the show felt rushed, and I'll give my opinion on that later. But the show felt rushed, and it felt like that they didn't have enough time to do that. But maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Let's get to the first match.
All right, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So, from what I remember, night one, I think it was Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu that opened up. Is that correct or is that wrong?
No, the first match was the Usos and LA Knight versus the Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and then I Show Speed.
Oh yeah, how could I forget? So here's my take on that match. The first thing I want to tell the planet is I love I Show Speed. I'm the biggest I Show Speed fan. I think this kid is fantastic. He's talented. He's has charisma. To me, he has everything that it takes to be a superstar in anything in the world. He's very agile. He's got it all. This kid has something special about him, and I like him a lot. And I believe in I Show Speed, and he has a connection with this planet, a connection with this planet, because there's a lot of people that know I Show Speed. I Show Speed is more over than everyone in WWE right now combined. He is more over, more popular than them worldwide. This is a worldwide superstar. The company bringing this kid in to work and be on their TV and to put him in the ring and all that other stuff is smart business. You know what I mean? It's smart business, in my opinion, when you're bringing them in to do smart business and to do good business. But when you bringing this fucking kid in for a fucking sloppy spot and you do nothing with it and nothing comes of it. It's just some bullshit ass reach to a celebrity to fucking get some numbers, to make some fucking money, sell some tickets. And I think that's bullshit, you know? This kid should be treated better in terms of his WWE presentation. Now, I don't watch the shit. I don't know what y'all was doing every single week with him. I saw some shots of him doing stuff with the Vision. I saw him taking some spots. I still think the spot he took last year with Braun Breaker was great. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Excellent. This match, the way this match went on, it looked like these guys were going to start working. They was going to start doing their thing. Next thing you know, I Show Speed doesn't really show, a lot. There was a time he was in there working and he could have did a little bit more. And then I think he took a bump. He took like an atomic drop from, I think it was from LA Knight. Took like an atomic drop and then he tagged out, was out of there. LA Knight didn't really get his opportunity to shine in this match, and the match didn't go on long enough for us to get the type of story that we was trying to get from this match. I don't think that match delivered at WrestleMania for the opening. It should have been much better. Pass to you, Maverick. What do you think?
Yeah, no. So my view on it was, first of all, Usos have changed their theme song 4 times now. So let's just
Okay.
throw that out there. So that's crazy. Um, I thought the match was kind of boring. Um, I thought that the bumps that Speed took were good. I know that he's still getting acquainted with the WWE style. I know that they're wanting him to be there. He's been training. He's trained with Randy Orton. They want him to be there. As far as how he's going to be, do I think he's going to become like a Logan Paul and sign a full-time contract? No. Not right now, at least. It could happen. I just don't see it happening right now. He's got a lot to do. I feel like a lot to work towards, a lot to. He's just got a lot to learn. And as far as it goes, I thought it was a pretty boring opening match. It could have been a lot better. The highlight of the match for me was LA Knight getting the pin. To be completely honest with you, I thought Triple H was going to go, let's pin LA Knight. Let's bury him some more. Like, I fully expected them to do that because that's why they do what they do, is to bury LA Knight. And so I fully expected them to do that. I was very pleased with the fact that he got the pin and the win for them at Mania. Especially with kind of how he's been treated, especially with, at one point it was supposed to be him versus Brock at Mania, and now, he had this match. I think he deserved a little better. I'm a huge LA Knight fan. I hope they give him more. I hope they do better with him, but I don't see it happening. But again, like I said, was very happy with that. I'm a little intrigued with kind of where they're taking the Speed and Paul story. Obviously, with Paul turning on Speed in the middle of the match, and then Speed, putting him through the table. Excuse me. I'm excited to see kind of where they're going with it. I hope Speed gets better. I hope he ends up turning out like Bad Bunny, where Bad Bunny is probably, in my opinion, one of the better celebrity winged wrestlers at the current moment, which we haven't seen him in a while. He's supposed to be making his return at some point. But I think if he can get to Bad Bunny's level, I feel like that Speed would do pretty good. And I mean, he has the potential to be better than Logan Paul. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you brought up another interesting point that I guess is for some of you guys to look out for. I mean, I'm not really looking to find out. Don't really care about it, but yeah, Logan Paul and Austin Theory obviously turning on I Show Speed. It just kind of makes you wonder because it was kind of paired together in hopes for survival. It almost seems, and yet here we are turning on each other. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Because I'm very, very sure that nobody wants to watch no goddamn Logan Paul going up against no I Show Speed and Austin Theory. You know what I mean? And if we're gonna do that, what comes out of it? They're gonna have LA Knight and I Show Speed tag teaming. I mean, You know what I mean? They're going to go after the tag team championships. Is that what we're foreshadowing here? I don't know. You know, how do you guys feel about that? I mean, I wouldn't say that that's something that is going to have me running to watch WWE, but I think it could be pretty entertaining. LA Knight and I Show Speed have been having their little back and forth. I haven't kept up with it. LA Knight is somebody who has been underrated, like a lot of you guys and girls know for the longest time. But LA Knight has also been botching all over the place and making mistakes. And you can't be doing stuff like that if you want to be the world heavyweight champion, folks. Okay. So I think LA Knight is kind of stuck, and they need to keep him doing something that's going to be able to get him back into the mix. Him and I Show Speed tag teaming put him in the spotlight that he needs to be world champion? I don't think so. Does it keep him on TV? Yes, because I don't know where LA Knight goes from here, and y'all got to think about that. You know what I mean?
There's
So,
something that I foresee happening with this that happened later in the show that could tie in with it. And if that happens, and I'll touch on it when we get to that point. But if that happens, I almost feel like it's going to be a letdown, and there's not going to be any way. There's not going to be anything coming out of it, in my opinion. But like I said, when we get to that point, I'll kind of come back to this point and we'll talk about it.
all right, well, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, it was like it was a very weird closing to that match. I'll say it was strange, and the match could have been better, but it wasn't given enough time, and it had a weird close to it. But let's keep going. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think the second match of the night was now it's when it's time for Drew and Jacob, is it not?
Yes, the unsanctioned match with Drew and Jacob.
Okay, the unsanctioned match with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. Going into this match, I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty good match. I remember me liking how Jacob Fatu looks. He had a really dope outfit on. I think it made him look presentable as a WWE superstar, and I like his work. You know, for the longest time, I think he's been doing fantastic coming up. I think that he should be definitely in that mid card, killing it. I don't think he needs to be rushed into any world heavyweight championship match. And if he's going to be put in world title matches, he doesn't need to be winning that title just yet. It should be just for enhancement and development. You can have him work the world champion, and I think that that would be great. You know what I mean? Drew McIntyre, I believe, is should be the face of the company right now. I think all he's missing is you put Broken Dreams back on him, and you get the machine behind him, give him the world championship, have him cut edgy promos. Maybe he have his own faction or whatever. He should be in a main place in the WWE right now, just holding it down. If anything, he should be Roman Reigns' competition. You know what I mean? We're gonna get back to Roman, but Roman is the presumed face of the company right now with the WWE. Back when you guys had your SVR era that I was a part of, John Cena and Randy Orton was always nose to nose. But for some particular strange reason, the company decided to kind of slow down on Orton, and they kept their foot on John Cena. The gas was going through. You know what I mean? I think that for you guys era, you guys got Roman and Drew McIntyre. That's how I look at those two guys. And I think that Drew McIntyre should be the guy that competes against Roman and doesn't let him get ahead, kind of like how I was with Sean and Brett. I just think he's the right guy. He's got the right look, the right size for it. And you need somebody like that because the roster just kind of running thin. I mean, we're gonna go back to CM Punk later and stuff like that, but uh Roman's definitely going to need some new material. And I know that he's worked with Drew McIntyre in the past, but the thing is, Drew McIntyre, you know, needs a very very important goal. And I think that if his goal was to compete with Roman Reigns against, for the World Heavyweight Championship, if that was like his long term goal, I think that everything becomes brighter inside of a day because it's like he has a goal. When you have a goal in this business, you have direction. You know where you want to go. You know what I mean? What happened with the Rock and Stone Cold back in the day? They was always competing against each other. So you always had that I got to be the best type of feel. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns don't really have that with anybody. You know what I mean? There's no competition like that. You just have either really good matches or mediocre matches. And I think that those two guys should be the focus going forward. Both of them are in their prime. They look great for their age. Put the emphasis on Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Give Drew McIntyre back Broken Dreams, whether he's by himself with a leather jacket or whether he's in a faction, whatever. Just give him Broken Dreams and let him get that world championship. And or let him come after that world championship in a really, really long storyline. He comes out, he's coming after Roman for the title, somebody gets in his way. Every single time that he comes after Roman and that world championship, somebody gets in his way. It creates for compelling television. It gives Drew McIntyre that lone wolf feeling that he needs to feel like he's trying to get somewhere. Because right now, after this match with Jacob Fatu, I can't think of where they would go next with the guy. You know what I mean? Maverick will give you his side, but I can't see their direction. I can only see my direction. And my direction is I'm gonna take him and show him respect and give him his flowers. You know what I mean? Because he has that ability right now, just like Roman. So I don't know. You know what I mean? From my understanding, unless I'm wrong, I remember Jacob winning the match, and I remember he was smashing his head against against a steel chair and whatnot. And I thought that the match was great, and I thought that it being barbaric and whatnot, added to the match. I think they did an excellent job. I'll say that. What do you got, Maverick?
Yeah, no, I love this match. I said that on my review, that this was one of my favorite matches of the night. Um, I feel like that this was one of the matches on the night one card that actually
They
told a
should have
story.
opened with it. They should have opened with that match.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. That's one thing I said whenever I was talking to some of the people that I work with. I was like, why didn't we switch this? And it's just kind of, I mean, I guess they wanted to open with speed. I don't know. I guess they were like, well, if everybody knows that that speed is on ESPN for the first hour, which Jacob Fatu and the Drew McIntyre match was also on ESPN for the first hour. Those were the two matches that was on ESPN for the first hour. But my thoughts were that I feel like it was missing something. I feel like the star power, to me, I feel like the star power was there. Drew McIntyre has been there for years. He's been a world champion. Um, People love him, people hate him. Jacob Fatu, he's getting over with the fans. He's been over with the fans. Vegas was kind of, in my opinion, on night one, a really dead crowd. Really, really dead. But I also don't think that they were in it because obviously the show wasn't good. I mean, it just wasn't. Um, the crowd was way hotter tonight than they were last night. On SmackDown, they were garbage. There were no cheer. There was no cheering. There was no it was nothing. Like they were awful. It was like Obafemi was coming out, or like Obafemi would have walked out there with his walk, and they would have just sat there and watched him do it. When you had him in Vegas tonight, they were doing the walk with him and chanting Oba, doing it all, you know. But on SmackDown and last night, everybody was like, oh, Cody Rhodes, he came out on SmackDown and did his whoa. And it was like only him saying it. I was like, what are they doing? Like, what is happening? Like, are you saving your energy for Mania? Like, what's going on? And so, the crowd wasn't in it on Friday and they weren't in it on Saturday. My hope is, that they do something with Jacob. I've heard a lot of stuff that Drew is taking a hiatus. I saw somebody post, a clickbait wrestling site today post that Drew McIntyre or on last night after it was done, Drew McIntyre leaving WWE. He's not leaving WWE. He's signed a contract. He's not leaving WWE. I mean, hell, the guy that helped him sign that contract was literally The Rock. He's not leaving WWE. Is he taking a hiatus? I have heard that. I have heard that he's taking time off to film a movie, film a show or something. Whether or not that happens or not, I have no clue. As of this moment, he may show up on Friday and be like, "I'm not done with you, Jacob." I don't know. But I feel like it's time for Jacob to move on. Um, there's still the storyline that WWE hasn't closed up of who attacked Jacob Fatu. Everybody knows who it was. If you don't, hopefully they will close that up soon. But who knows? There's a lot going into that. Again, like I said, I hope that they use Jacob Fatu the right way. I hope they help him. I hope at some point he's a world champion. I fully believe that he's world champion material. Um, I feel like he's got it. Again, he's over with the fans. He's good in the ring. I mean, bro's doing moonsaults at his height and his weight. He's great. He's athletic. I love it. I love Jacob. I love Drew. I hope they do more with Drew and they don't, just push him to the pits and you know don't do anything with him. I hope they do something with the both of them, and I hope that this just wasn't one of those. Well, we need to fill in a spot type of match, and I don't think it was. Again, this was one of the better matches of Saturday night. And I was pretty pleased with it. Again, I thought it was missing something, but I feel like the unsanctioned match, I felt like it was. I feel like it. I'm trying to figure out the word I was trying to say. I lost it. I feel like it fulfilled the hype, and I feel like that they did it. They did it the right way. But again, I just felt like it was missing something.
Right on.
Lived up to
And
the hype. That's what I was looking for. Oh my gosh.
right on, right on. And since we do things the real way on this channel, we want to take this quick time right now to go ahead and say real quick a quick rest in peace to the real one. Van Hammer has passed away. We want to show love to Van Hammer real quick. I remember Van Hammer back in the day in the WCW games, and he's definitely done his part for all of us to be here today, just like everybody in the Attitude Era at that time that paid their dues, and before the Attitude Era as well. So definitely want to take a quick moment for a rest in peace to Van Hammer. All right, keep the comments coming. Yes, Shandon, we put a quick flower up. All you guys with the cool comments, we're gonna put them up. Questions, all that other good stuff. You know what I mean? All of that. All right. So prompt your cool comments and we'll put them up on the screen. But we're going to keep it going with WrestleMania Night 1 review. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what follows next is the women's tag team fatal four-way match. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
So that was Nia Jax and Last Legend.
Yes.
You had Bailey and Lyra. I
Yes.
remember
Bailey and Lyra.
you had the Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and then you had the Bella twins, which we saw Nikki Bella get replaced by Paige, who has returned to the company. Now,
Yes.
Maverick, you know I'm getting ready to have my fun, so you know what I'm saying that definitely get ready to have yours as well.
For sure.
So let me just give everybody tuning into this shit warning, fair warning right now that what you are about to listen to, and if Shenden's listening to this, he's probably screaming right now because he knows that I'm about to sauce it up. But so if you're listening to this and you're a part of the PG era, or you consider yourself PG, great Christian value, you're someone who does not like four-letter words and non-PG just ain't your thing. You know, this is time for you to go and take a piss break because Kevin Impact is not here to be PG. And I'm going to tell you guys what I think about that match and what I think about all of that. And then I would love to hear what you guys got to say in the comments. And then Maverick is going to give you what he has to say. Okay. So, um, WrestleMania Night 1 started out dry as shit. Nothing but commercials from left to right. We're getting matches at this point. We got two matches out the way here tonight at WrestleMania. The first match to open up was not very great, but it wasn't too bad neither. It looked like it had potential, and then they fucked it up. Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, TKO bounces back. They have an excellent television match. That's barbaric. And I'm going, okay, WrestleMania, maybe WrestleMania's back. It's starting to pick up. And this is how I feel, and it's just my opinion. So we go continue with this women's tag team fatal four-way match. A stinker of a fucking match. It was terrible from beginning to end. I hated that fucking match. I hate the fact that it took place at WrestleMania. You could have had that shit on fucking Teletubbies and gotten the fuck over with, so we wouldn't have to watch that fucking horse shit. Uh, you know, fucking, everybody knew that has a fucking brain in their head. Everybody knew that Paige was coming back and that she was going to replace Nikki Bella. You know what I mean? And if you didn't fucking know that, it's because that's just how your mind thinks. God bless you. But everybody fucking knew what was going to happen with that. So I don't know. None of that came as a surprise to me when the Bellas were coming out last to announce the obvious. It did nothing for me. It brought my energy down. It brought WrestleMania's energy down, in my opinion. I thought it was fucking garbage. It was just terrible. The match was bad too. Um, Bella Twins had no business being in that fucking match. Who the fuck are the Bella Twins? These fucking girls, they might be good looking, but these girls belong as ballettes. These girls belong as ring girls, okay? Holding up round one, holding up round two, holding up round three. That's what the Bella Twins are good for, all right? I understand people like them, you know what I'm saying? But there's people on this planet that like shit in their mouth. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it a positive thing. So they had no business being there. For the Bella Twins to be getting title shots and tag team title shots and being back on TV is absolutely fucking comedic. It proves how fucking of a joke that fucking TKO is. This shitty ass fucking era, shitty ass company, and it's just fucking dog shit. It's garbage that they're giving you on fucking television. That if you respect and you gave a fuck about this fucking business, you wouldn't watch the shit. You'd laugh at it and fucking go at them for it. But instead, it's a lot of you soft ass, weird ass, toe sniffing, panty sniffing simps out there that fucking mark out for these two fucking bimbos, and you want to sit there and try to call it professional wrestling. That ain't fucking professional wrestling. It's bullshit. It's garbage. It's what the fuck it is. The Bella Twins are two of the most fucking worthless ass wannabe WWE superstars in the history of fucking time. Next to a few of your other favorites, that I'm gonna try not to mention so I don't hurt your fucking feelings. I'm not the good guy here. Maverick's the good guy here. I'm here to peel the fucking skin off. So yeah, so it's just fucking comedic. It made me fucking laugh. The match was garbage. And then Paige come out. Who the fuck is Paige? Who is she? What's she ever fucking done? Besides swallow some fucking man cream. You know what I mean? On top of just when you fucking think that this fucking company can't fuck shit up even worse, they're gonna fuck it up even worse. You know? You go and sign Nikki Bella to a fucking wrestling contract. It can't get worse than that. And then you gonna bring back Brie Bella. Oh shit, it can't get worse than that. And then you gonna bring fucking Paige back. Like they're just on a fucking roll. They don't give a fuck. It's what it is. You know what I mean? Tonight they didn't give a fuck. Yesterday they didn't give a fuck. WrestleMania night 2 today was only good because of the matches, because of the wrestlers. The wrestlers did that on TV. All these lazy bums did is fucking hit the record button and change the camera angle. That's it. The wrestlers are the one that carried the fucking show to make it appear as if it was a WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Nobody else did nothing. They didn't even do fucking hype videos, for crying out loud, for these fucking matches. What, are you out of your fucking mind? How do you have a wrestling show and not have hype videos for the fucking matches? How lazy have we fucking gotten at a fucking WrestleMania? You know what I mean? So fucking dirty hoe ass Paige comes out, you know what I'm saying? And she's out here looking like she was doing nothing but crack while she's been away. Straight up. You know what I mean? I'm being real with you. That's how I feel. It looked like she was doing nothing but drugs from left to right since she's been away. She gets in that ring and she almost looks smaller than Hornswoggle. Like you know what I'm saying? I laughed. I don't give a shit how you feel about that. I laughed my balls off. You know what I mean? So that went on. It was a horrible fucking match. and I sit there and go, oh, of course Paige and Bree is gonna win. Of course they are. You know what I mean? And it happens, and I start laughing. Because why? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? You got Lyra and Bailey who have absolutely been fucking killing it on TV. I haven't been fucking watching, but I've seen some of their fucking work. I didn't used to like Lyra because Lyra was fucking generic. This fucking girl's been on TV wrestling hot fucking matches like she was Bret Hart in the fucking 90s or Shawn Michaels. She's been going in on TV, working with a lot of different girls. Somebody like a fucking Ivy Now, for example, who's a beast. They just what I'm saying? She's been fucking killing it. They've been fucking wrestling hot TV matches. And another one, like the fucking Dakota Kai, who didn't deserve to get fucking fired. Why did you bring back the fucking Bella Twins? You fired the fucking Dakota Kai and you bring back the fucking Bella Twins? What type of fucking logic and what fucking mind as a fucking business person does that fit into? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, from a sales standpoint, is the only thing that register making fucking money off of the fucking Bella Twins because you got simps out there, that buy the Bella Twins t-shirt and then they get real fucking intimate later on at night with that fucking t-shirt. You know what I mean? They talk to the fucking t-shirt and make love to the motherfucker. You know what I mean? So that's the reason the Bella Twins have a fucking job, straight up. I'm being real with you because I've been tired of a lot of shit. So fucking you fired Dakota Kai, who was a great fucking wrestler, man. It pissed me the fuck off. That's one of the reasons I stopped watching. But let me not go too long with this. So I think it's fucking comedic, whatever. I said what I said. I don't want to talk about the Paige thing. You guys already know what type of a nasty bitch she is. And, it's just fucking hilarious that she's back. I'm going to laugh at her every chance that I can get. But what are we doing? Maybe Maverick knows more than I do, but you put the championship tag team championships on Paige and Bree. The only thing I can think of is it's going to be Paige or the Bella Twins are going to turn on Paige, and then I guess Paige is supposed to tag team with AJ Lee. That's the only thing I see. Outside of that, there is no fucking reason to put these horrific looking, by the way, tag team championships on these fucking girls. There is no fucking reason. Who the fuck are the Bella Twins? I ask you again, who are they? Who the fuck are they? Who the fuck is Paige? What have they ever done? You know what I'm saying? NXT champion this, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Who gives a fuck? All right. Paige is under fucking contract on your television in front of your fucking kids. If you want that to be your fucking role model, a nasty fucking bitch like that, then be my fucking guest. If that's what you want for your fucking kids, and the fucking Bella Twins, as fake as they fucking are, inspiring the next fucking generation. Come on, man. Let's get for fucking real. At this point, let's just have fucking Will Smith be on fucking WWE and let's call him a real man. Let's say he's what real guys should be built around. A guy who will sit there and have his fucking wife get bent over and he just fucking take it on the fucking chin and sticks around and then want to try to act gangster. It's not fucking playing with me, man. All right. So before I continue to fucking go off on the fucking statement, let me pass the rock to Maverick and y'all hear what Maverick got to say about all that. Go get him, man.
Yeah, this is why I titled the podcast the "Don't Pass Me the Mic" podcast. It was mainly targeting you,
Yeah, I believe you. Go ahead.
So, my opinion, and I know I'm gonna get shit on for
No,
part
no,
of my
no,
answer.
no, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. I said what I said. I mean what I said. I don't apologize.
No, that's
You
totally
you
okay.
say whatever you want.
And,
It don't matter what nobody think. You ain't
well, and
gonna
you
get
and I
shit.
can have a discussion. You and I can have a discussion about
You ain't gonna get no shit. You ain't gonna get no shit because you entitled to what the
right.
fuck you want to say. So you
But
say
again, we
whatever you
can
want.
right, okay. So and I don't care to answer questions, if anybody has a question for me after I give my answer, but I didn't like the match either. I thought the match was terrible. It felt like every single woman in the match got an opportunity to get in and like get in a couple of minutes, and then it was like they were in and out, in and out. And then, to be completely honest with you, I don't even know if the legal person got the pinfall. I have no idea because I couldn't keep up. I'm sitting there and I'm like, what's happening? It was just all over the place. It didn't feel like there was really any structure to it. You know, I don't know. I was very, very pleased with the fact that I didn't have to watch Nikki Bella wrestle. Um, very, very pleased. Um, Here's the thing. I'm a fan of Brie Bella. I've always been a fan of Brie Bella. I've never been a fan of Nikki Bella. I've always enjoyed Brie Bella and always thought that Brie was the better Bella twin. Um, Nikki Bella is just a woman full
She's
of
worse.
implants. Nikki Bella is just implant heaven. That's all she is. Um,
I got you.
but like I said, for me, I prefer Brie Bella. I prefer Brie. Um, and as far as Paige goes, so I was actually pretty happy with the fact that Paige came back. When it got announced that, or well, it wasn't really. I mean, it wasn't announced, but it was reported that she had signed with WWE. When the news got reported, we knew she was coming back. We had already heard about. We had already heard about Nikki most likely not wrestling at Mania. We knew that on Monday. We knew on Monday, okay, she's not wrestling. She's got an injury. She's not going to be there. So we knew that they had to pivot with something, but we didn't know what they were going to pivot with. We were like, okay, what are they going to do? And then when it got announced that Paige was signing, we were like, oh, okay, well then this is what they're doing. They're going to bring her in and put her with Brie. Um, my idea was that Bianca was going to come back and potentially, for some odd reason, team with Brie. But obviously, we saw that she ain't going to be wrestling for quite some time. I again, like I said, I was very happy that Paige came back. I was very happy that she was there. I had the opportunity just a couple weeks ago when I went to my Comic Con, where I met Christopher Lloyd, the great Christopher Lloyd. I had the opportunity to meet a bunch of wrestlers, and she was one of them. And a lot of people there were talking to her about her leaks, the things that was leaked and stuff. And for a lot of the questions she was getting, she was really emotional. She was talking about how it changed her life and it put a really bad view,
I
all this
bet it
different
did.
stuff. And so, she's been fighting to get everything off the internet, which you can still find it out there. It's still able to be found. Um, and so, hello, Corey. Thanks for the weekend. It's fantastic. That boy right there.
All
Um,
right there.
but again, like I said, to me, I feel like she deserves a second chance. I know that she didn't do a whole lot when she was in WWE the first time. I know she didn't do a whole lot when she was in AEW. She, in my opinion, she won the world title there, and then after that, like I think Conscience said it or somebody said it. She didn't do nothing after that. Tony didn't use her at all. Didn't use her properly, at least. Do I know what they're going to do with Paige? No idea. I have no idea. One day I hope to get to that point to where I'm able to get those types of scoops and stuff, and where I'm able to, kind of help report that news. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Paige. Are they going to do like they did with Becky last year, where she comes out and she kicks Brie Bella in the vagina and says, oh, it's my house, blah, and then she starts screaming, like, I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do with her. Um, she may come out and she may have a whole makeout session with Brie Bella and say, leak my nudes. I don't care. Like, I really don't know what they're going to do. And then that brings back Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan kicks her in the face with a knee. I really don't know what
He
they're going to
kicks
do.
he kicks her right in the ball sack, man.
Exactly. Right. Right. So again, the match was doo-doo. It was awful.
Yeah.
Paige being back, I'm happy with it. I hope they do something with her. If they don't, what it is, what it is. It's
I agree.
TKO and it's a new era,
Yeah.
Um, and so,
It's a new era
again,
every week.
them bringing back Paige is why they do what they do. But again, I'm excited. A lot of, people were pretty hyped about it. The content creators were really going off this weekend. So, about it.
Oh yeah.
But again, yeah, very very happy with her being back. But the match was just the match was not great, and you could have done so much more with Paige. You could have put her somewhere else, on the card. Hell, she could have been one of the people that came out with John Cena. He could have been talking, and then he looks at the stage because you knew when something was going to happen because he was nonchalant. He was not like he would talk and then he would turn to the stage and then something would happen. And it was like, oh, okay, something's happening. Like tonight, like last night there was, Bianca came out and it was like, oh, hey, Bianca's here. What in the world? But he looked at the stage, So like, I don't know. There was so much more you could have done with her, and I don't know. I don't think it was a waste. I think it's okay. Them winning the tag titles, I was not a big fan of. I really wanted Bailey and Lyra to win. I know VIP is going to be very happy with that, but that's who I wanted to win. It is what it is.
That's what I
Um,
wanted.
but yeah, I was pleased with that. I saw Chris answer this question or ask this question. Do you want me to give an answer or?
Uh, yeah, you could talk about that right now. I think that'd be
Okay.
fine.
Okay. I mean, we can wait if you want to. I don't care. It don't matter to me.
Well, the thing is, the reason I said you could talk about it is because I don't. I mean, I remember seeing, him in night. Was it night one? It was
Yeah,
night
it,
one.
it was night one.
So I don't remember when do I see him. So
Um,
since I don't remember, we could kind of talk about it, or unless you remember.
no, so he wasn't. He was never shown on the show. Like
No,
no,
he was never shown. Oh no, no, yeah, you're right. Never mind.
yeah, no. He
But
was
what I'm saying, I mean, I guess he was there the whole time, but I don't know if he was there the whole time because when I got sent his picture by you or somebody, I don't remember when at what time I get sent the picture is the point I'm trying to make,
right.
and I'm going off of that timing.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know
no.
if he was. Do you know if he was there the whole time?
Yeah. So he was there the whole time. He posted a picture before the show started,
Right.
and then he later that night he ended up posting videos of him watching Cody's entrance. He posted a video of him watching the match itself, and
Yeah.
then there was the punt kick thing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do with this. Him and his lawyer, they tried to like make speculation. I think it was his lawyer. I can't remember precisely, but I know that they tried to tease something during like a interview. And he was like, "Hey, April 19th or whatever," and it was when they were teasing the whole phone call, who's on the phone with Randy Orton thing. Um, and he was like April 19th, whatever, and they booked it, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, Obviously he was at WrestleCon this weekend, signing autographs, taking pictures, different things like that. He was there at the convention, so he was in Vegas. It wasn't like he just made a trip to go watch WrestleMania and then left. No, he was there all weekend. He went to the show. I don't know if he was there tonight. I haven't looked at his Instagram or his Twitter or whatever. But he was in the crowd. And people were speculating that it was AI. It wasn't AI. It was real. He posted it himself. But again, that means nothing. I guess it could have been AI, but he was there. He was in the crowd. Other people spotted him. So yeah, he was there. He just wasn't involved with the show at all.
That we know of, anyways. I mean, with the way they went about that match, and we'll get back to it.
Yeah,
I'm starting to think of a theory with that, but I'll get back to it when we get to that match. So
sounds good.
we'll definitely come back to that, and of course, JB showing his love for Bailey and
Absolutely.
Lyra in the comments as well.
He loved Bailey.
Absolutely. So hopefully that answers your question, Third Eye. We're going to try to see if we can keep the show going. But before we do, I just wanted to go back to what we were talking about prior to that. And I want to add in that I personally do not believe that Paige has anything to offer the WWE. If I was in control of creative, that bitch would have stood backstage. I would have came up with a much better idea, something much more entertaining and compelling, and positive for the WWE than fucking bringing out Paige. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I guess she's back. If we're gonna come back and do business with Paige, hopefully they're gonna, like Maverick said, and I agree with everything Maverick said. But hopefully they're gonna use her for something and make some fucking. I mean, they're making money already, a lot of fucking money. I don't need them to make more money. I need them to fucking make TV that's gonna make me want to watch. So I don't know. I don't know what they can do with Paige to get me to go. I need to tune in, but a match with the fucking Bella Twins is just not it. And I also want to point out something significantly interesting to me during that match or post match. Uh, she seemed like she was ashamed. If you go back and watch, it seemed to me like she was kind of turning her face after she got the belt and she was leaving with the twins. And it almost seemed like she was disappointed. I don't know if it was the length of the match. I don't know if it was the decision. I don't know if she feels like she wants to earn things. I don't know if maybe she's just not a fan of being tag team champion with Bree, which I really don't know what they're doing because the fucking Bella twins to me are like a God-given heel. They're God-given heels. The Bella twins are good for nothing else other than to be heels. But I guess they're baby faces right now. Paige is a baby face because people's fucking cheering her. So I'm not looking forward to find out what's next for it. I'm just gonna keep my eye open on all the articles that comes out, and then maybe that's what I learned. They haven't convinced me yet to watch or start watching WWE again. WrestleMania did not do that to me, but I will admit on air that there's possibilities that I may be watching their pay-per-views again with what happened with night 2. I was a big fan of a lot of things, okay? But let's keep it moving, shall we? So we go to the next match where we're talking about women. And correct me once again if I'm wrong. I got Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. Was that the next match on this
That,
night?
I believe that's correct.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about it. Here's what I really think about Becky Lynch and AJ Lee in 2026, and then you guys will get Maverick's side. And notice that I'm not arguing with Maverick because I want it to be two sides because it can't just be everything I like. I want it to be different perspectives, him and mine. Me and him are kind of like fucking Spider-Man and Carnage or Spider-Man and Venom. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't look at Becky Lynch the same like I used to. When Becky Lynch was the so-called man, I looked at Becky Lynch like Becky Lynch was going to be a big deal. Becky Lynch was going to, she was going to be one of the most important things in WWE. And to be fair to her, she was around 2020 or something like that. I remember her doing the 2K commercials and being like a big thing and stuff like that. And she was coming out to the WWE camp theme song and shit like that. That was a good show. I love that show. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? I thought, she was all right. Becky Lynch got to a point where she started giving me Cindy Lauper vibes and stuff like that, and maybe a little Wendy Victor and whatnot. She gave me different vibes, different people, whatever. Right. As time went on, you know, I started seeing Becky do this whole fashion thing, and Seth copies her, just completely copies her fucking gimmick, and it just like, and there's reasons like that I laugh at Seth, you know what I mean, because he can't be fucking original to save his fucking life. But Becky goes and does this whole thing. Seth copies her. So the whole Seth freaking Rollins gimmick that Becky came up with, that got over, that worked. I give her credit for that. And her, I mean, obviously her, minimum talent husband Seth Rollins was able to grab on and realize that if he copy his wife, this could be something that could work for him. In my opinion, all his other gimmicks flopped, and the Seth freaking Rollins was the only thing that got more over than anything else. You know what I mean? The architect and all that shit was just fucking. It was a dry fart in the air. Okay, and so fast forward to what you got now. The Becky Lynch gimmick works for Seth. He stopped doing it. Now he's like fucking, I don't know, the fucking architect again or some stupid shit. Whatever he's doing now, whatever gimmick, he's a mass man now. But this ain't about him. And we'll get to him soon. Becky got to a point where with that Seth freaking Rollins gimmick that she came up with, right? She started saying certain shit that I heard about that I felt made her look fucking dumb as shit. Um, she started speaking out much like Mickey James, which I thought Mickey James' comments about this was just so stupid because everybody that's a wrestling fan has known Mickey James to be a hoe. Everybody that's a wrestling fan knows Mickey James having the G string stuck up her ass, her outfit looking like a skirt, whatever the fuck. That's always been Mickey James. Tits out, everything sex appeal. That's always been Mickey James. So for Mickey James to go on NXT or whatever that shit was, Tough Enough 2.0, Tough Enough Wannabe, and say some shit about, oh, she don't like when girls, you know, about sex appeal, this and that. What the fuck are you talking about, Mickey? You did that. That was your whole career. You did that your whole fucking career. But if these fucking girls do it, you don't like it. That's not wrestling. But you did the shit, and that's how you got over in the ruthless aggression era. You know what I'm saying? So, Becky Lynch, whatever the fuck, started saying some of the same shit. You know what I'm saying? She's running her mouth about the shit, but then you got a clip of her and that outfit that she used to wear with her ass cheeks all out, and she's throwing the skirt up so you can see her ass while she's getting punched or kicked or whatever the fuck. Get out of here, you fucking hypocrite. So she looked like a whole sucker to me, a whole clown, and I think that that's what Becky Lynch has become. And then they started forcing all this with Becky, constant title shots, constant handing over this and that. You know what I'm saying? Becky Lynch became fucking stale. She became straight up stale. That's all she's been. But I guess she's been having some hot TV matches that I have not watched, so I'm not going to criticize her for that. Maybe she's been killing it in that aspect. But I haven't seen none of that shit because Becky Lynch has done nothing to convince me to go, I need to watch. Nothing. There's not been nothing there. She's been as dry as Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and all these other fucking wannabes, okay? That's just my opinion, whether you like it or not. So I didn't give a shit about this match. From my understanding, I thought they have done this match 2 times in a row, 3 times, whatever. I found out that it was like 4 times they did this fucking match, counting this match. And I just think that that's funny. Now, this is going to come as a big shocker, but after all the shit that I'm talking, and I haven't gotten to AJ Lee yet, I actually liked the match. I thought Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee at WrestleMania was a good match. I thought they put on a good back and forth. It was a hell of a fucking banger. I saw spots that were going on that, they was making it look good. AJ Lee took a really good one and Becky Lynch. So I think those ladies did an excellent job at WrestleMania, no matter how I feel about Becky Lynch. And I believe that AJ Lee's wrestled her best match that she needs to wrestle. And now she needs to just let it go. Just leave it right there. You know what I mean? Leave it alone. There's no reason to come back. I don't want to see her tag team with no pays to go up against the Bella Twins. I don't want to watch that garbage. If you want to watch that, kudos to you if you get it, but I don't want to watch that bullshit. Okay. So AJ Lee ran the course. She needs to just let it go. She lost the women's Intercontinental Championship in this match, which I think that championship is a fucking joke. But whatever, that's just my opinion. I think that's a comedic title. It's a prop. They had a good match for that title. There's prestige to that match because of that match, in my opinion. They did their job. They did a good job. It worked for WrestleMania. And coming off of that really shitty women's tag team championship match, I think that this women's title match brought WrestleMania back just a bit. And I enjoyed it very much. And now I'll pass it over to Maverick.
Yeah. I I'm not gonna lie. I agree with most of the stuff you said.
Okay.
Um, Becky has kind of is one of those people that every time that she's on my screen, I want to turn it off. She here's the thing. She is good on the mic every now and then, but when she gets to the point to where she's squeaking, like her voice is squeaking, where she's like you know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Right.
But she has had some banger matches. I will give her that. Some of the matches
Yeah.
that she has had, some of the matches that she's had on Raw, some of the matches that she's had on the pay-per-views, have been great. But she's not that great. Ever since she came back, she's been a heel all the way from, WrestleMania of last year to now. And she wasn't doing anything with the Intercontinental Championship when she held it the first time. She's not going to do anything with it or she didn't do anything with it when she held it the second time, and now she's not going to do anything with it this time. And so if they end up doing something with it, I'll be intrigued. Are they going to do it? Probably not. As far as AJ Lee goes, I was very happy that AJ Lee came back when AJ came back. I was one of the people that popped. I love AJ. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to put it. I think that she's great. But obviously, um, when I was in middle school, I loved watching wrestling, and she was on there. I loved her. That was when they were called divas. Some people still call them divas. It is what it is. But again, I think she's great. I thought the match was good. Again, with this match, and this is all, I mean, literally all weekend or all day Saturday. This match just felt like it needed more. Their match at the Chamber was better than this match. Um,
Okay.
their match at the Chamber was way better than this match in so many different ways. Their tag team match that they had at WrestlePalooza was better than this singles match.
Okay.
Um, you know, the there were too many things happening with, AJ Lee, Jessica Carr, I don't know if you know this, I'm pretty sure you do, but Jessica Carr is a wrestler. And,
Yeah, I'm
if
aware.
they really wanted to pull the trigger and just put Jessica Carr in the ring and fight Becky Lynch.
Well,
Um,
to be fair, to add to that, it looks like they're building it that way because they was
it
teasing
does.
going to the match,
Right.
in my
And
opinion.
it's possible. It is very, very possible that that's something that they do. Um, but again, there was nothing in this match that we didn't already see at the Chamber.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, obviously we see, AJ is taking a hiatus. A lot of people thought she was done. I know you said something I feel like it was you that said something to me that you saw a report that she was done. She's not done. She has a contract with the WWE. It's a multi-year contract. Um, but in that contract, a lot of people thought at first it was that she was going to be full time. She's not full time. Um, AJ's an author. She does book signings and different things like that. However, when she does show up, she is practically full time because she's there almost every week. Now, during her title reign, she wasn't. She was there every now and then. She had some promos with Becky leading up to it. She had a match. She had one match, and so it's just one of those things that, you know, um, the women's IC title hasn't had a lot of love, and I hope, I hope that that changes. But this is TKO, so I don't think that's going to. Now, if it does, and I'm surprised, then color me surprised. But I think right now they need to figure out, okay, what are we doing with this title? What are we doing with Becky? Is Becky just going to keep coming out and saying, welcome to the big time, and then throwing her mic down and walking out? Or is she going to come out and she's going to actually do something, Um, but, when you're feuding with people like Maxine Dupree, which, giving credit to Maxine, her matches have been getting better. She's been doing a lot better.
Right.
But is
I
that
agree.
all that's going to happen? Is she going to have matches with Maxine? Is she going to have matches with? I mean, is she going to have matches with Bianca Belair's newborn? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with Becky. I have no idea. I just I just feel like there's no vision there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think everything you said makes sense. I agree with a lot of what you said. I also love AJ Lee. I think and this is the reason why I like bringing different minds in here, not just minds, because there's you know background information that somebody else might know that I'm not familiar with. You know what I mean? You have someone that is familiar with their weekly shows and know what's going on, or is on the up and up, and then you have me that I can only give you my knowledge on the business based off of what I think it's good and what I think it's bad. So this is a good thing, you know what I mean? If Maverick wasn't here, we wouldn't have the knowledge that, yeah, maybe I think that the match with AJ Lee and Becky was great at this WrestleMania night one, but Maverick came in here and cleared the whole thing and said, no, their other matches were better. It's that background that lets you know that this was really a lackluster match. I liked it because I seen it the first time. It's their only match I think that I watched. I didn't watch their other matches, which is probably a good thing I didn't. But nonetheless, that's interesting background information. So I'm glad that he cleared that out and provided that. Okay. Um, we're gonna keep things going here as we prepare to finish up. I think finish up night one. No, that's not true. Not just yet. We're gonna continue night one. So the next match on this card. Now let me just do a quick run through, so you guys know if you're tuning in late. So I did not like the opening match of night one. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. I liked. The women's tag team championship match, I did not like. The match of the women's championship match with Becky Lynch and AJ Lee, Intercontinental, I should say, I like. I thought it was a great match, in my opinion. The next match on here is Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Uh, I saw this match. I want to tell the planet that I don't like Seth Rollins. I want to let that be known that I do not like that motherfucker at all. And I'm going to give this man credit only for what I thought was impressive of him in this match. A Baphomet Rollins coming out with his little demonic eyes, you know what I mean? Making it cool for the kids to love, worship Satan and stuff like that. His little bullshit that he's been doing for a couple years ever since he sold his soul. I don't fuck with Seth Rollins. I don't like him. I think that motherfucker is garbage. Seth Rollins is overrated. He's somebody who has been taken care of by the company because he was shoot in to be one of the top guys that we were going to focus on because he was buddy buddies with Who and Shoo Shoo. And then he became Seth freaking Rollins, man. We just give him everything, even when he's fucking trash. We just hand everything over to him until people love him. Okay, this motherfucker was dry for the longest time. The last Seth Rollins that I liked that I thought had potential was the one in the Authority when he's wrestling Sting and all this other stuff, and then he went corporate. And when Seth went corporate, I didn't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? The fact that everybody else cared so much and get goosebumps from this guy and think he's so great fucking blows my mind. But that's the society that we live in. A lot of you guys allow these fucking corporations to eat at your brain, and brain rot it until you go, yeah, did they good? I like did good. That boy good. I don't do that.
Uh
I don't do none of that. When you want to be a professional wrestling legend, to me, you have to prove yourself. Roddy Piper, the names goes on and on and on and on and on. And it don't got to be Attitude Era and it don't got to be Golden Era. It could be TNA 2002. It could be somebody like Monty Brown. It could be Kevin Thorne. It could be Chris Masters. It's a lot of people who were underrated who deserve a lot of respect and they never got their fucking goddamn flowers from Vince McMahon or none of these other motherfuckers. And I have a problem with that, okay? But you take Seth fucking Rollins. Seth Rollins is a great wrestler. Seth Rollins is going to go down as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. With a lot of input from Kenny Omega, but nonetheless, he's kind of a pretty good wrestler. Seth Rollins has good wrestling matches most of the time. He's okay. He's all right. I wouldn't say he's a top guy. I wouldn't say he's a big star. He's okay. He's a good mid card guy who you could rely on when the company is going out of fucking business or we don't know what the fuck we're doing. And then you input Seth Rollins into the story or the match and you're good. And now you could calm down because Seth got it from here. Okay. That's what Seth Rollins is. Seth been around long enough to be able to be a commodity for the company and also to be an asset for the company in which you can put the heavyweight championship on him and everything is okay. You don't have to worry because Seth is kind of like a fighting champion. Seth is kind of like fucking Brett when he was the WWF champion or Shawn Michaels or somebody like that. Seth has that. Seth possesses that ability to be able to do that. But Seth Rollins with me has not connected the dots to be a bona fide global fucking phenomenon. Seth Rollins, I don't think he's ever going to be that, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm not okay with is that we take mid carders and we shove them down people's throats until they fucking like it. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like being forced to like people. I want to organically like you. Okay. Nobody forced me to fucking like Jushin Thunder Liger and the Great Muda. Okay. And fucking Hayabusa and all these guys, you know, these guys were fucking Japan people, you know what I mean? Japanese wrestlers, Hong Kong wrestlers, you know, Chinese wrestlers, different styles, different places. Okay. No, there was a stigma in professional wrestling back in the day that the Japanese guy is supposed to be the gimmick guy, the rookie guy, the guy that's going to get his fucking ass beat, which was very racist, by the way, I might add. Okay, and the Yoshitatsus and the Funakis and Taka Michinoku, who should have been the WWF World Champion. Okay, there's a lot of people that have fucking potential that could have made it, but they didn't because there was a stigma. All right. Uh, Shall I mention Shinsuke Nakamura? Shall I mention him and how he should have been the world champion? So there was been a stigma for the longest fucking time. Okay, so it was instructed to the fans for the longest time that that's the guy that's going to fucking lose. All right, there's been a lot of things in wrestling that there's been a disconnect, but even with that stigma in place, I liked I liked Hayabusa and all these other guys that I mentioned, and a lot of the Japanese wrestlers that fucking killed it. Okay, guys that got over in fucking Japan and did their shit. You know, like Tetsuya Naito and Okada. You know what I mean? That I come to learn about them later on, and when I came to learn about them, I understood the style of Japanese wrestling and how things go over there, how things should be in wrestling. Okay, so you can try me with a WWE superstar, and if he's good, I'm gonna give him fucking credit. And that's the only reason that I can give Seth Rollins credit, whatever, right? So, you know, I thought Seth Rollins coming out with his little demon eyes, just leave it to Finn Balor, bro. You know, you don't have, you know, the only thing that you have of a demon is the soul that you sold. You sold your soul and you fucking know it. You fucking a Baphomet. You sold your fucking soul. You're trying to normalize to these kids that that little satanic rock style is okay and it's cool and it's popular. And it's fine because that works. That works with the new consumer of fans that fuck with that and go with that. You know what I mean? That they mark out when they hear Seth Rollins' theme song because they've have frequencies within his theme song that channel you and make you move to that type of shit. That's cool, Seth. You know, you got it. So Seth is a big deal, right? Seth comes out, no matter how I feel about Seth Rollins. I've been talking about him for maybe 10 minutes now, going in on him, and has a banger with Gunter. I wanted a banger from those guys because this fucking match was thrown together randomly and it didn't make any fucking sense to a lot of people, including me. But Seth Rollins and Gunter found a way to make it work. This is quite possibly the greatest match of the fucking night right here. For night one, in my opinion, these two guys went out and killed it. They had a wrestling classic. They had they killed it at WrestleMania. It was a fantastic match. You want to talk about fucking WrestleMania matches? This was a WrestleMania match that you can look back on, and it's like they went back and forth and killed it, and it was great. My favorite part, Gunter choked. I mean, he didn't. Man, he didn't choke him out. He submitted him because PG era Braun Breaker came out, which I didn't give a shit about. I still don't care about it. You know, whatever. Braun comes out, does his little move. You know, to Seth, screws him, and we gotta make Seth look really strong. So we gotta make Seth look really strong. We made it to where Braun has to attack him, and I guess you guys are going to be getting Seth versus Braun. Good luck with that. I'll pass. You know what I mean? But Gunter gets the job done. He didn't retire Seth or nothing like that. He just made him submit. Match was over. Great match. I pass the mic over to Maverick.
Yeah. Not a big fan of Seth either. Seth is one of those that, the only thing about him is he has a catchy theme song. I will say this, he's very, and I hate to say this, but he is good in the ring. But I'm not a big fan of him. I don't like his promo style. I don't like, the raspiness of his voice. I just, I feel like he is too overdone. I feel like he is
Agree.
used. He's used in positions that he's not needed in.
Agree.
I expected more with the Vision story. I like that they were going to build Braun, which obviously Braun returned in this match, and I was looking forward to that. And then obviously that didn't happen. They instead had to go a different route since he was injured. Since Seth was injured, and then obviously Braun got injured, and then you know Braun got injured, and Bronson got injured, and then the only people left standing in the Vision was Heyman, Paul, and Theory. That was it. And so I will be honest, this was my match of the night. I love this match. I thought this match was great. I thought it lived to the hype. I know that a lot of people said it didn't really have a story, um, and I will get to what that story is later because it comes in night two. Um, and
Hmm.
so I thought it was an outstanding match. Again, personally, my favorite match of the night. Um, Braun coming back. For some people, it wasn't a good thing. For me, it was a good thing. I
Yeah.
think that you have him come back. You have him help. Um, you have him help Gunter, or not really help him, I guess, but you have him come back. You know, you tease what's coming up. This was the match that was supposed to happen at Mania. It was supposed to be Braun and Seth. And then obviously again with all the injuries and stuff, there's nothing you could do about that. So they're gonna pivot and finish that story somewhere else. Um, Sucks that it didn't get to happen at Mania, but overall, I thought this pivot was a good match. I thought Gunter winning was the right call. I don't think Seth didn't need this win. Gunter needed this win because I mean, if you look at it, he just retired AJ, he just retired he just retired AJ, he just retired Cena, he just retired Goldberg. Um, he does not need to lose yet. Especially not to Seth Rollins out of all people. If you have him lose to Seth Rollins, but he can't beat, but he can, if he hold on. If you have him lose to Seth Rollins, but he can beat Cena, AJ, and Goldberg, then you're overdoing it, and you're trying to say that Seth is the new version of them, and that's I'm not for that. And I get it. He's a Triple H guy, but I. I don't. I've never understood the hype with him. I thought he was better in the Shield than he is by himself. Um, but this is also the guy that's had 10 different gimmicks. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm excited to see what he does next. Maybe he'll do a BDSM style uh, thing with Becky. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
I could picture me being in a storyline with Seth Rollins, and I'm with him on Monday Night Raw, and I picture me just rolling my eyes every time he's talking, and just shaking my head and just either laughing or smiling, just like everybody watching, just smiling and laughing because I'm being stupid with it, and just talking shit to Seth like you disgust me or something like that. But I agree with everything Maverick said. Absolutely, do I agree with all that? I want to add also that I thought Braun looked real good with what he did at Mania. I wish he wouldn't have done the spear down the ramp because he didn't kill Seth. And I think that that was a spot that, you should have killed Seth. If you weren't going to kill Seth with that spear because you could have injured him, you shouldn't have fucking done it to begin with. You know what I mean? It was a little lackluster when he speared him, and it's almost like he went for his leg to kind of slow down the impact. I thought that that took away from that. I'm pretty sure 2K is probably going to do a real good on some cutscene in the future when you're playing, that match over in WrestleMania mode. But they didn't do it right in real life. Braun Breaker didn't do it good in real life. So I wish he wouldn't have done that. I wish he would have just either killed Seth or not done it all. So there is that, and we're gonna keep it going here. Okay, we're gonna keep it going here with the next match on the card. We're going to go to Stephanie Valkyrie versus Liv Morgan for, I want to say, the WWE Women's Championship or something like that. Is that it? I think it was for the Women's Championship. I don't know.
Yes, it
Okay.
was.
Okay. So, um, after having this really excellent match with Seth and Gunter, um, we go to this match with Stephanie Valkyrie and Liv Morgan. And this is a weird match for me because I liked the match and I also hated the match. I thought that both ladies were trying to put together a good match, but it fucking wasn't long enough. And there was a lot of matches that was getting cut short, and was going about 7, 8 minutes or whatever. And I think that that took away from WrestleMania. This was one of those matches that it kind of took away from it. And then next thing you know, it's just kind of done and over with. I did like a lot when Roxanne and Raquel came out. I thought that the match was starting to get more intriguing, and then out of nowhere, the fucking match is over. That's it. That's really what I could say about this match. I can't say nothing else about it. They didn't get the opportunity to rock the house the way they should have. Not enough happened in the match to really make it a classic. It was not a WrestleMania classic. It was just a match. It started, it went on, and it ended. That's it. What do you got, Maverick?
I think that Liv Morgan's entrance was better than this entire match. Um, I mean, the way that they pulled her clothes off was cinema. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah, no. This match had more potential. Especially with Stephanie and Liv. Um, this was one of the matches on the card that actually had a story that was okay. Um, there were three matches on the card that I felt like had pretty good stories. One being Drew and Jacob, and then this one, and then the main event. I felt like the both of those had pretty okay stories. The main event had some stuff that I'll talk about, but this one specifically, I felt like it was a good story that led to a lackluster match. This is a match that you have two of your biggest two of your biggest women stars, um, co-main eventing WrestleMania to put on that. Um, I, I this match deserves so much better. The two women in the match deserved so much better. I love Liv Morgan. I love Stephanie Valkyrie, but I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. I don't know. I can't defend them. I mean, this was a garbage match. It
Right.
started to pick up, and then it just ended.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I caught myself saying for most of the show was that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Um, and I'm just like, for Liv and for Stephanie, they deserve so much better. Now, Liv winning, I think was great. I think it's great that she won. Um, she's been plagued with injury after injury after injury, having to drop the title, and different things. And so hopefully this time she can stay healthy and she'll
Yeah.
be all right. I thought Stephanie was a great champion. I don't think Stephanie's done. I think that the company views Stephanie very highly, especially with how over she is with the fans and
Right.
her merch sales and different things. So I don't think she's done. I think she's got a lot more left to do, and I think that they're not gonna. I could for sure see them trying to get her to win the IC title. I hope that's not the case. I hope that she sticks in the main um, the main card section and not the mid go down to the mid card, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely a lackluster match, and it deserves so much more.
Yeah, and of course, just to close the cap on that, put the cap on that. Liv gets the championship. Uh, I think that Stephanie Valkyrie's title reign as women's champion was mid, and I don't think that that was because of her. I think that the fucking company, I don't know. I just don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what it is. It's like they don't fucking get it, and that's the reason it's hard for me to watch this company, to watch wrestling on TV, because TKO doesn't fucking understand. There's a disconnect, and when you're a wrestling promoter, and I do it on a fucking video game. Let's just let's keep this shit very clear. Let's just keep it 100 all the way through. I do this stuff on a fucking video game, and I'm able to get a fucking reaction, and I'm able to work with people, and I listen to my people, and I try to work with my talent to get them over and to try to help them get to where they want to go, right? But another thing is I recognize when a talent has areas of weakness. I don't make it my mission to go out there and put them in a position where you're going to see their very worst. And I feel, in my opinion, like this fucking company is like they're comfortable putting people out there and letting them fail. It's almost like they do it on fucking purpose. They get off on it or something like that. Because as a business, what common fucking sense and what mind does it fit that you have all this fucking talent going out there? They can't cut a fucking promo. They can't work. They can't do this. They can't do that. They have no aura, no charisma, nothing, and you're putting them in fucking main event spots, and you're giving them all this airtime, all this promo time when you know they can't fucking do it. You know what I mean? And it just almost makes you wonder, like if it's how does the schedule really look? Are you just putting fucking random names on the card just because it's work, and you're fucking just trying to fucking you're waiting on your direct deposit for your next fucking check? What the fuck does it? What the fuck is it really, TKO? You know what I mean? You can't book these fucking shows like it's fucking MMA or whatever the fuck. There has to be a story behind all this. So it's just kind of confusing for me. Stephanie Valkyrie is a great wrestler. She's excellent talent. I know a lot of you simps out there, really fuck with her more because of her ass and shit like that. I understand that, you know what I mean? But when we do too much of that, we run into this problem that we're running into now, that we brain rot the fuck out of the so-called WWE universe. And then all you motherfuckers know is ass is twerking and all this bullshit. That's all you know. You don't know who the fuck is fucking S.A. Rios. You don't know none of these wrestlers. You don't know nothing about no wrestling. You don't know no fucking Dean Malenko, no Ultimo Dragon, because you're fucking brain rotted. You know what I mean? You know the fucking Bella twins. You know bullshit, and that's the problem that I have with this type of stuff. That you take someone as talented as Stephanie Valkyrie, who comes in, and she could have been an excellent champion, and she would have been good, but Stephanie Valkyrie has areas of weakness that the company cannot expose. Okay, Stephanie Valkyrie does not speak straight up English. All right, why the fuck do you not have someone with her, a fucking manager or somebody that could talk, a Spanish interpreter or something like that? Don't you guys think that would have been cool? Maybe since it's all about pussy, maybe she could have had a badass Spanish chick. How about that? She could have had another really good looking Spanish girl that speaks for her. That's her interpreter that could have speaking English, and then everybody would have tuned in, and you would have gotten more ratings because you got a good looking Spanish girl next to another good looking Spanish girl. Hello, common fucking sense. You know what I mean? But they don't do that. They just send her out there, and poor Stephanie, she's getting trapped in her bilingual, and she can't really deliver the way people need her to deliver, which is something that happened with Shinsuke Nakamura. Because there's some of you out there that think that everybody has to talk. Not everybody has to talk. Stephanie Valkyria's character, as is supposed to be dark. She's supposed to be treated like Nakamura and Julia and all of them, like it's a comic book. Hello, what I mean? You could have had her just looking tough. You could have had her, showing off the tribe, showing off the Aztec, showing off her Mexican culture. Kind of like how they do. That they do it, to be fair. They have the video clips and whatnot, but you got to get more involved in that with Stephanie Valkyrie. Okay, especially if you're going to have it be compelling. Stephanie Valkyrie is not someone who really has charisma like that. So you can't have her in an environment where you have her promos with Liv Morgan, bro. That shit is not going to work. So all they really could come up with is puta this and puta that and bitch this and tu madre and all this shit. And it's just fucking racial insults at each other, which I think made the story fucking garbage. You know what I mean? It was just bad. It was just bad. And then Liv Morgan gets the championship. I mean, they probably made the right call. But I mean, I feel like this means the fucking end of Stephanie Valkyrie, because where do you go now? You lost the championship. If she's not involved, if she's not fucking beating the shit out of Charlotte Flair next or some shit like that, why should we care? Why the fuck should we care if she doesn't show up on Monday and beats the shit out of somebody that's important, and doesn't beat the shit out of Liv Morgan and says it's gonna be me and you again? Why should any of us care? You see what I'm saying? And that's what this company doesn't fucking realize. Now the Judgment Day with Liv Morgan, I think they've been doing excellent work. Fantastic. Everything's good. They've been killing it on TV, this and that. Props. I don't know what to say about that fucking music video that she put together. Whatever the fuck. It was very cringe to see that at WrestleMania. Maverick said that he thought it was great or some shit like that. He liked it. I thought that shit was fucking cringe. You could have saved that shit for MTV or something. Bring MTV back and run it on there, or just drop it straight to DVD. You know what I mean? We don't need none of that bullshit. All right, I get what they was trying to do. I understand what they was trying to do, because I lived it as a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? DX in 2000 with Run DMC. I understand what we're trying to do. As a business, I understand what we're trying to do there, but I don't think it did what it was trying to do. The only people that fucking soundtrack is appealing to is grown ass men who catch goosebumps when Liv Morgan comes out and fucking scream and lose their fucking minds. You know what I'm saying? Like a prima donna. And I mean, like, no real wrestling fan in their right mind that has a mind correct, that's thinking correctly, and not with a dick in their fucking brain, is gonna go and mark out to that. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, that's just my opinion. Let's just keep it moving. You know what I mean? So we're gonna go on to the final match of night one, right? And before we go to the main event of night one, which is a heavyweight championship belt match with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, I want to call to something real quick that I don't remember when it happened. So I'm going to need help from you guys or Maverick to help me out with this one. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that John Cena came and announced with Bianca Belair her pregnancy on night one. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I want to give Maverick the opportunity to talk about that right now. I'm gonna just give my side. So I like Bianca Belair. I like Montez Ford. I'm very happy that she's expecting a baby, that he's going to be a father. It's kind of a downer because that means that they're going to be away for a bit when Montez should be on TV as a main guy, not Seth Rollins. But but he's going to become a father, and that's a great thing. And I'm happy for their family. I think that's fucking amazing. Um, I thought that John Cena was going to come out in night one, and just he was going to come out two times, and I thought it was going to be at the beginning and the end of the show, and that's it. And I was not entirely wrong. He came out at the beginning of the show. He didn't come out at the end of the show, but he came out at the middle of the show sometimes. And when he did come out, he announced the attendance record, which I thought was I mean, it really is uh, common history in the WWE for people to come out and, and announce the attendance record and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So Cena coming out doing what he did is not something we're not used to, but it felt very empty because they didn't do anything fucking backstage, no interviews, nothing like that, no hype
Mm,
videos. So with Cena coming out, in my opinion, I felt empty when that happened. That he would
right.
announce the attendance record, and then fast forward to Bianca. Bianca comes out and announces she's pregnant. Again, I'm happy for them, and I'm happy, but I feel that's something that could have been fucking announced on social media, whatever. It didn't need to be on no fucking WrestleMania. And I pass the mic to Maverick. What do you got on it?
Yeah. Me personally, I didn't have a problem with them doing it. I, very happy for them. I feel like that this is probably something that Bianca asked if she could do because, there's been a lot of rumors about her. There's been some rumors that, she was retiring and like completely. Um, there were some rumors that were saying she could never wrestle again. She had a finger injury, and there was a lot of people saying that she was going to get her finger amputated. She's not getting her finger amputated. I don't know where that came from, but there were all these different rumors, and so I feel like the reason why she came back to do what she did was so that she could put that to rest. So she'd be like, "Look, that's not what's going on. Here's what's going on," and that's what she
Okay.
did. Again, I don't have an issue with it. I don't have a problem with it. Um, I thought it was a cool segment, really cool thing. It got a loud pop, of course.
Right.
And I think it was cool that they allowed her to do that. I think it was cool that they allowed her to get on there and do that in front of them
Yeah.
at Mania. And I just, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it. I didn't have a problem with it.
All right. I don't have an issue with it deeply, neither myself. You know what I mean? I just felt like time and place for me when you're doing a wrestling show is very, very important. And I feel like if you don't dress your wrestling show the right way, things come off the wrong way. I could see it from your perspective that maybe we just kind of slid that in because maybe she kind of went, "Hey, can I do?" It could have been innocent, like you said. It could have been just that we slid that in because it's like, what the hell? But it came off. It gave the wrong impression, at least in my eyes, in my view. It gave the wrong impression that it's just like we had nothing, and this is just something that we threw that is not fire, but we want to present like it's fire and
Right,
and and
right,
and TKO has a history of doing that type of stuff that to where instead of having me and Kevin Impact and Maverick going at it on the mic and giving these people money, they'll just be like, "Oh, you guys just come out and shake hands and then you just leave. That's it. That's all we're doing." Like that. It's always the fucking takeaways. So I feel like it felt very cheap and it felt very desperate and it felt like it was forced. By those conditions, it felt forced because it's like you didn't really do anything else. And I feel like if they would have did a little bit more, maybe they could have done more with that segment. Maybe other people could have came out. Maybe some of the girls could have came out, could have congratulated her. I don't know, but it just felt very cheap in my opinion. Okay. So that's just my opinion. He gave y'all his. So we're gonna go to this main event. All right. So there's a couple things. In my opinion, I liked Randy Orton's entrance. I like Cody's entrance. I thought it was really comedic and laughable of TKO to bring out uh, Pat McAfee to get his WrestleMania entrance. I thought that was really funny because of how things turned out. It did not make them look good in my eyes. It added on to their bullshit. You know what I mean? At first, I didn't have a problem with it. At first, it was just like, okay, so Pat's coming out, no big deal, whatever. But with the way the rest of the night and match went, If you are a true wrestling fan, you would realize that the fact that that man got an entrance is just kind of bullshit. All right, so let me get to my stuff. So they have their entrances, stuff like that goes on. I think around this time was when I probably started finding out that Ted DiBiase Jr. was in the building. I did think in my mind, or at least I was open minded to the idea that this was all a big swerve and that Ted DiBiase Jr. could be making his way into ringside and that maybe something was going to happen. I think it could have been a good setup for Cody to turn heel. And then maybe Cody's going to be with fucking Ted DiBiase, which I think would be good television, in my opinion. Cody could have kept the championship. He could have turned heel. They could have brought Legacy back and they could have gotten a tag team match out of it. You could have had Jelly Roll come back into play or whatever the fuck else you want to do with it, you know. And Pat McAfee, you know, you could have did something very interesting. You could have had Pat McAfee turn on Randy Orton and go with Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes, and I think that that would have been compelling television that could have worked. Cody would have had the championship, and then Randy would have been on the hunt to get his belt back. I think that would have been dope if they would have did something like that. No DiBiase Jr. whatsoever. I thought they had a pretty fairly decent, good match. I remember Randy bleeding and me kind of going, okay, you know, the match picked up. So they was having a good back and forth. It definitely felt like a battle in the main event. Um, I thought that it was really garbage that Jelly Roll comes out, does a table spot with Pat McAfee, and you don't see him anymore after that. You know, a common sense in any fight, if your boys got your back, your boys got your back. If it would have been a real fight, Jelly Roll would have came back out or would have been somewhere in the States, somewhere hiding, watching, and gorilla ready for if Pat McAfee comes back out for him to stop him. That did not happen. What happened instead is Jelly Roll hits the spot, and I don't know if it was Maverick or who said it. Somebody said something about Jelly Roll was like, "Yo, give them the main event they deserve," or something like that. And I found that very interesting because we did not get the main event we deserve. At least if we did, you know, in my opinion, they fucking flopped the fucking end of the match, which is fucking diabolical. And we'll get to that, and Maverick will give you his side momentarily as I finish this up. So here's my thing with this. You know, like I said, you don't see Jelly Roll anymore, right? Fucking Jelly Roll takes out Pat McAfee. Pat gets they put him in a gurney, they get him out of here. Fast forward, Pat McAfee comes out later on, I guess a different outfit or whatever the fuck. Referee shirt or something like that. He got the neck brace on, you know, looking comedic, like no kill said. No kills, no damage. And when he comes out, they're trying to screw Cody Rhodes, and fucking Randy Orton just fucking drops him. He drops Pat McAfee. If I'm missing something, you know, either hit me with it or save it for when it's your time, Maverick. But you know, he drops Pat McAfee from what I remember, and when he drops Pat McAfee is because he couldn't help him get the job done to beat Cody Rhodes. So Pat McAfee gets fucking RKO'd, and I'm kind of going like how everybody else is going. What's happening right now? Why did Randy just fucking take out Pat McAfee? Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but the reason we asked is because that's fucking stupid. Like for the longest time we thought that this was going to lead to something. At least I did. I was under the impression that maybe we could get a Vince McMahon coming back at Mania or whatever. I thought we had Ted DiBiase Jr. on speed dial. I'm thinking that Pat McAfee is coming in to be with Randy because we're trying to get to week to get to WrestleMania because he's really just a sacrificial mule, and he was a sacrificial mule, but nothing came out of it. You know, he got fucking RKO'd, and when he got fucking dropped, Cody takes advantage and just keeps the fucking championship. And I'm going, you know what I mean? And Randy had tried this publicity stunt or whatnot. You know, he tried to pull a quick one. Oh no, he didn't. He just got beat, and then after, I think he hit Cody with the fucking belt or whatever, and then Cody had his eyes swelled up or whatever. You know, that's cool. You know what I mean? But it was just like my issue with it is this. So you Pat McAfee was really only there for WrestleMania. That's all that was. They put him in place, and it's like a lot of people said, Pat McAfee had nothing to do with that storyline. The person that you would have needed would have been someone like Cowboy Bob Orton or Ted DiBiase Jr., somebody like that. You know what I mean? Maverick had brought up Dustin Rhodes, Goldust. You know what I mean? If they could have worked something out, with AW, that probably would have worked and it would have been compelling. You know what I mean? But no, we didn't do that. We had a really like it was just really dry. So I felt like the ending was just fucking dumb and it just didn't make any sense. And I rest my case on that and pass the mic over to Maverick to finish up night one.
Um, yeah, I mean, this was the other match that I was speaking on whenever I was talking about there being a story. The Pat McAfee stuff, garbage. Um, I think I would rather watch Seth Rollins wrestle Becky Lynch in a fashion contest um, to see who has the better fashion. Um, and then little do you know, they actually come out wearing the same stuff because, you know, that's the business. And so,
I
anyways,
agree.
yeah, I just, I don't know. It wasn't great. Um, Pat McAfee had I mean, he literally gave nothing to this match other than the fact that he got put through a table by Jelly Roll, which I thought was sick. I was very happy with that. The elbow
Right.
drop didn't look great from him,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's still learning, so what do you expect? I thought that there were a couple of things on it during the actual match. I will say this: I thought the match itself was actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
I was okay with it up into the beginning of it with the Pat stuff. Could have I would have been okay not dealing with that. Um, and then the end of it, I was just kind of like, huh? Like I was telling somebody that I came out of the show with more questions than I have answers. And
Right.
maybe that's what they're wanting you to happen. Maybe they're wanting you to go, why did they do this? And obviously, like any show is gonna do that. That's like watching JTV and you're like, Shinden still has the undefeated streak, but Skinner's gonna, sniff his ass next week. So I already know that's what's gonna happen, so I don't need to watch.
What the?
Like so it's one of those things that they're wanting you to try to guess, oh, what's going to happen. For instance, I don't know if this isn't said, but Cody has a legitimate injury from the match,
Okay.
um something dealing with his orbital socket. So what are they going to have happen? Jelly Roll come out and take 5 RKOs from Randy Orton? I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen now because Cody's injured.
Ooh.
um
Ooh.
so up
And
until
when you say that, are you making reference to the potential backlash tag team match? Is that what you're referencing, or
yeah, I mean, because that's right now the rumored match is going to be Cody and Jelly versus Pat, and but see, I don't even know if that's on the table anymore because he RKO'd Pat, when he came back out. So there's just
yeah,
a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of stuff that it's kind of like I've heard of a pivot that could be happening. There's a rumor going around that you know Pat wasn't the original guy that they were going to go with.
that's what I
Apparently,
believe. I
yeah,
believe that.
apparently there's another guy. And if you go back, and I know you won't, but those that watch SmackDown, if you go back and look in the background, you'll know who that person is.
Hmm.
And so, again, like I said, I thought this match was good. It was another one of my favorite matches of the night until the ending there, and then obviously the after thing where he punt kicked Cody. It was cool to see that again. It really brought back 2009 Randy vibes.
Right.
Um, I was happy with that. I look forward to that. Um, but I was really hoping that we got something there. Maybe a Ted DiBiase run in, or maybe a Jelly Roll run in, or something to like keep him from doing that. Doing that. But I know that they've been teasing him doing the punt kick for some time now.
Yeah,
And
it's good
you
to
know,
see.
it is very good to see. And so I think it adds a little bit. The story's not over, so I guess that was their plan all along. And I don't know. Um, we're in a new era every pay per view. So I guess we'll just see what era this one is.
I guess so. It's gonna be a whole new era on Monday. Uh, but I mean, like you said, I feel like the match went fine. I just think that they fucked up the finish, like they did last year at WrestleMania. Don't need to get into that. And just they, I'm gonna be on the lookout to see what's next. And if it's compelling and good, then I'll say it's compelling and good. If it's fucking garbage, then I'm gonna say it's fucking garbage, folks. It's just that fucking simple.
Well, and I'll say this as well. For night one, on my review scale, I gave it a 5 out of 10. Um, I was,
It was
displeased with
bad.
most of the show, but
Yeah, it
that's
was
what I
bad.
gave it.
It was bad, but even though it was bad, I want to point out how there was some matches on there that I thought were good that I liked. My frustration came from the fact that it was just too many fucking commercials,
Yep.
and and that basically you had nothing that was really going on backstage. Okay, and the matches were just too fucking short. A lot of these matches are just way fucking short. You can't be doing shit like that in professional wrestling. Okay, you have to give matches time to develop so people feel the emotion. All right, if you don't, it's like when you're out in the snow, or whatever, and you're trying to turn your car on. You gotta fucking wait for that shit to warm up. You know what I mean? You can't just fucking go. You know what I mean? So, uh, yeah, that's how I felt about night one, and I'm ready to jump into night two. I don't
Yep.
want to talk about it anymore. Okay, so
Really quick, shout
yeah,
out to the 7 that are watching right now. Um,
yeah,
if y'all have any questions while we're going through, feel free to ask. And we'll put it up on the screen and answer it when we can. But
yeah.
don't hesitate to
We
ask those
we
questions.
we know that it's late and getting late, and we're trying to finish up the show for you. But to the people that are still here tuning in, definitely shout out to you. Smash that like button, subscribe, tell your fams, and if you're checking us out the next day, watching the replay, thank you for tuning in. We hope you're enjoying the show. All right. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and jump onto night two now.
Oh wait, before we
Oh,
do that, we got to take a 3 minute commercial break. So we'll be right back. Everybody, hold on.
we'll be back after these 12 commercial breaks. All right. So here we go. So when we went into night two earlier, some hours ago, I wasn't sure what to expect. A lot of us wasn't sure what to expect because after how bad night one was, we're just kind of going, man, at least I am, are they gonna do this shit again? Are they gonna do this shit again tonight? And I've got Corey and I've got Maverick telling me no, night two is gonna pick it up a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm the kind of person that, anytime, sorry, Corey, but anytime you've ever, Corey's ever told me you got to tune in, it's going to be fire. It usually means something really boring and corny is going to happen. Okay, so I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest. I went into this blind, but I went into this positively, expecting that, I just want to have fun. I think this would be fantastic because I didn't want to watch this shit, but if I'm going to review it, I have to watch it so that I know what happened. They haven't convinced me yet to tune in on fucking Monday, but um, I like I said, I'm probably gonna give it a shot. So I guess the next pay per view is gonna be Backlash. I don't think I'm gonna watch Backlash, folks. I have zero interest. But whatever the next pay per view is gonna be, that's gonna be epic, like Clash in the Castle or some stupid shit like that. That's gonna have something important. I'll probably be back to review that one for y'all if you want.
You got to be
But I
Clash in Italy. Clash in
Okay,
Italy.
Clash in Italy. I might be back for that pay per view, but I will not be back for Backlash. I have zero faith that Backlash is going to be good. Zero confidence in that. Okay, so let's focus on what we got at hand. All right. So where I'm at with night two, Cena comes out and it almost looks identical to night one. So I'm already getting nightmares and flashbacks from the day before. Okay. Cena comes out, and by the way, I thought Cena looked great. I'm very happy to see Cena in a suit like that. I think Cena right now is on his Bruno Sammartino 1990s type shit, where he retired 20 years ago, and he's really just there to advocate and to put the younger guys over, stuff like that. So to see John Cena there, I think it's a good look for him. I thought he looked really good announcing and stuff like that. So I really hope TKO that you're going to be bringing this man back to do stuff like that, and it's going to be positive and it's going to make sense and work. Whatever, It, the thing with Cena, I think it was positive. They did positive with Cena, in my opinion. So Cena comes out to hype everybody up for night two, yada yada yada, this and that. I thought he did his job for what they were trying to do. Made it seem like something was gonna happen or somebody was gonna come out. Nothing happened. Nobody came out. It just immediately goes to Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I know Maverick got some sauce for you guys for the Brock Lesnar Obafemi match, but in my opinion, I thought I have not seen Obafemi's dance entrance. I have not been watching in a year since the last WrestleMania. I have not given a shit about the product. Obafemi made me feel like I should watch. I think he did a good job. He convinced me this and that. I think that the entrance was amazing. I got Ultimate Warrior vibes from him. Oba I think is positive for the company right now from what I see currently. Okay, and I didn't like Obafemi. Um, Brock Lesnar came out. They did their thing. I thought the entrances was really good when they came out. I thought that sold the match. It worked. Those two guys go into this match and they start putting together this fucking amazing match that I did not expect to ever happen. They started putting together this really good match, and I'm waiting to just make fun of this match and not care about it. They made me care. Brock and Oba made me care about their match. And just when I gave a shit and just when I cared and just when I'm falling in love with the match and I'm going back and I'm remembering what wrestling is and the WWE is, TKO goes, no, no, this match is going to be 5 minutes. The match ends, and just when I was getting into the match, the fun ends immediately. It gets taken away from me. Brock tried to go for an F5 that we never saw, and Oba drops him. What would look like some sort of a fucking sit down power bomb or whatever he does, and the match was fucking over. And I'm going, I'm already getting bad vibes that they're gonna do the same shit they did with night one. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt about it. I think that the right guy won. Oba was the guy that needed to win. And then fucking Brock Lesnar goes and retire. I don't think Brock Lesnar is retired, but a lot, that's the story that he retired. He took his boots off and his fighting mitts off and all that type of stuff. And I guess people said in social media that he's retired. So that's where the story ends. And I pass it over to Maverick. Have fun.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that I changed my profile picture. I thought it fit the vibes. Yeah, no. So here's my opinion on the matter itself. Um, I enjoyed the match, and here's why. And then I'll go into my opinions on some of the things that happened and stuff. Um, I enjoyed the match. I think it was everything it needed to be. I think that what they did um, was used to make Oba look strong. Um, Oba Oba needed this match in order to be put over and to be shown as the person that the company is trying to push. Um, Here's the other thing. Um, Brock's not retired. He's not. Here, the thing is they wanted to do this match, and this is just my opinion. I don't have a scoop or anything like that. This match lasted 4 minutes, and it was practically Brock being destroyed um, by Obafemi. And Brock got some shots in here and there, but it was mainly Obafemi taking out Brock. And obviously Brock is seen as the guy that is the beast incarnate. He's the next big thing, all these different things. However, when you stand toe to toe with someone like that and you get put down the way that he got put down, obviously you're probably going to be like, oh man, I can't do this anymore. You got to look beat up a little bit. But what happens after that, right? Well, number one, you already have this story with Paul Heyman that was pushed a couple weeks ago on Raw, where Gunter looked at Paul and said, "You owe me a favor," and Paul looked at him, and he didn't say what the favor was. He didn't say anything like that. But we all know what the favor is. And the favor is that he retires Brock Lesnar. He's going to retire Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. It's kind of stupid and idiotic for them not to have Brock retire at SummerSlam in his hometown. Obviously, it's one of those things that, you can make the argument that Cena didn't get to retire in his hometown, and AJ didn't get to retire in his hometown. But ultimately, you already have the show there. Cena's retirement match, the only reason that they didn't have the match in his hometown is because Washington, D.C. won the bid to host Saturday night's main event. This SummerSlam has already been listed for a couple of years now. So therefore, you had already teased Brock. You've already, advertised Brock. Brock is going to be at SummerSlam. And Brock's going to fight Gunter at SummerSlam. This is going to be a big story that they do. They're going to have, they're going to be talking about saying that he's retired and all this and blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to do something with it where Gunter gets mad and he starts taking it out on Paul. And what's going to happen? Well, here comes Brock. It's going to be, the Triple H Brock Lesnar storyline over again, where Triple H was upset because Brock wasn't coming out. And then all of a sudden, finally, he comes out. And then Brock was messing with Vince, so Triple H would come out. Well, here comes Triple H, And so they're going to do this as leverage to get Brock to come back and have that last match against Oba. Now, do I see that, or not Oba, I'm sorry, against Gunter. Now, do I see them doing a match in between that? I could see that. I could see them doing a match in between where it's Gunter and Brock wins, and then Gunter attacks him afterwards, and then they do one more match. It's at SummerSlam, and Brock beats him.
They have to do it because he'll be coming back to lose again. It'll be dumb.
Absolutely. And so, just like Dan said there, SummerSlam. Yeah, exactly. Now, if this is the last...
Probably like Saturday Night Main Event or some shit like that, where Brock wins.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's quite a few things coming up that they could do it at. I mean, again, like I said,
do a big Monday Night Raw.
3 hours. You could do that. You could do it at Clash in Italy. You could do it.
Oh yeah.
You got all these matches coming up or all these pay-per-views coming up that you could do it at. Or I'm sorry, PLEs that you could do it at.
Right.
You have all these different ones that you could do it at. So there's the possibilities are endless. You could do it at any point. And who knows? Maybe they don't, and then they just keep building up until Brock finally comes back. They do the match, and that's it. But I feel like that won't happen. I feel like he'll have one more, and then it'll be SummerSlam. But as far as him being retired, I know somebody said earlier that there was breaking news that Brock had retired. That is not the case. He is retired, quote unquote, for now. Um,
Those are the gullible fans.
yeah, he's not done yet. He's gonna have one more match. And again, if he doesn't, color me surprised, and I'll have a lot of questions. Um, but he's not done yet. So those that are Brock Lesnar fans, you may rest easy.
But there you go. And I said that I don't see him being retired right there. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
So I don't believe, and and part of my background, we just arrived in the city of Impact momentarily. This is the wrong show, but yeah, I'm with you. Everything you said, I agree with what you said. I think that he's not retiring. They're just trying to buy some time. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see if they're going to have him get a big victory at the Clash at the Castle, whatever Clash of Italy, before they get to SummerSlam. I am probably going to watch Gunter versus Brock Lesnar. And the reason why is because with Obafemi and him, they sold me that it could have been a good match. So, it teased me. So I feel like I probably am going to watch SummerSlam. I'm going to try. All right. But let's keep it going here so we could close the show out before it gets later. So we're going to go to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which featured, let me try to get this correct. And I'm going to try to go off of my mind as I remember. So Penta's defending the Intercontinental Championship. Rey Mysterio's in the match. Uh, you had Evans,
Javon Evans.
Javon Evans was in the match. Rusev was in the match. Dragon Lee was in the match, and there was one other person. I'm
It
trying
was
to think.
it was Javon Evans, Penta, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, Rusev, and JD McDonough.
Oh, JD was doing his shit in this match. I could remember Shendon saying in the chat, "Oh, Conscience is going to be happy because JD did the Spanish fly off of the ladder to,
Oh yeah.
I think it was like Dragon Lee or some shit like that. He did it to, or yeah, something like that. And I thought it was very good. I thought everybody had an excellent match. I love the Mexican Destroyer through the ladder that did not break or bent, I should say. And I thought there was a lot of things. I think this match was the beginning of WrestleMania being saved now because they started with the first match. It was supposed to be good, and then they fucked it up by making it too short. And then it's just like, oh man, here we go again. WrestleMania night one nightmare. But no, that did not happen. That did not happen. Instead, we got a really excellent and amazing, fun, exciting, exhilarating six-person Intercontinental Championship ladder match. I had a lot of fun watching that match. I'm glad that my boy Penta won. They just went all out. They completely went all out in that match. I thought that a great story was told. I could have went for more Penta versus Rey Mysterio, but you know, I thought for what they did a pretty good job, and I felt like the match did what it was supposed to do. What do you think?
Yeah, no. This was listed as my second match of the night on my review. Um, I was very happy with this one, pleased with this one, and I was honestly very happy that Penta won. Um, I said if Penta was going to lose it, um, my pick to pick it up would have been Javon Evans.
Right.
Me personally, there was one person in this match that I wasn't upset that they were in it, but it was just like a why were you in it?
Okay.
And that was Rusev. You had again Penta, Javon, Ray, JD. You had Penta, Javon, JD, Ray, and who was the other one?
Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee. Yes, you had all five of them. basically all high flyers. JD is the only one outside of them that's not necessarily a high flyer, but he kind of showed tonight that he was. You know,
Right.
he did the Spanish fly off the ladder and such. Um, but I was like, I was sitting there the whole time. And I was like, why is Rusev in this match?
Right.
You could have put maybe Ray Phoenix in this, or you
Right.
know you could have even brought. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but you could have put, El Vikingo in this. You could have put Psycho
Oh yeah.
Clown in this. You could have brought somebody from AAA, Mr. Iguana. Imagine the pop that Mr. Iguana would have gotten at
Oh yeah.
WrestleMania.
I agree.
Like,
I
you could have
agree.
done something like that, or, um, put El Grande Americano in it.
Yeah.
You could have done so much more, and you didn't, and you just picked Rusev, which again, completely okay. I love Rusev. Glad he got to have a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
Um, this is his first WrestleMania back. I'm pretty sure. So,
Yeah.
because he returned the WrestleMania, or he returned at the Raw after WrestleMania last year. So again, happy for him. Glad he got to have a match, but I just didn't see him doing a whole lot. I mean, I
Right.
saw him do a couple of things, but I didn't see him do much. It seemed like the people doing the most work were Dragon Lee, Javon, Penta, and JD. I didn't see Ray doing much, and I didn't see Rusev doing much.
Right.
So, again, props to them. The Mexican destroyer off the ladder, to JD. I was like, this bro just broke his neck. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, no, this was my second match of the night. And actually, I believe I placed it as my second match overall. So
Hmm. Okay. I agree with that. I think that there's um I like the fact that Rusev was in it. I've liked Rusev for the longest time. He makes me laugh. I think he's very entertaining, but he's not very charismatic.
yeah,
Rusev,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Rusev is not someone that can be very, very fun. As a matter of fact, if you're not careful, he can actually be very boring. I
Yep.
mean, so with Rusev, you have to be very careful with him, and that's the reason he was successful back in the day because he had Lana. Remember her? Lana was by his
Mm-hmm.
side, and that actually worked on television because with Lana is like it equated to what Deborah was to Jeff Jarrett. And no, I don't think Jeff Jarrett was fucking boring. I like Jeff Jarrett. I just think that Deborah made Jeff. She gave him more of an edge, if that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
So, so I think that that's what that was. So without no Lana, Rusev just really has his wrestling ability and his power. I like that Rusev was in the match because I think that it's very clear that Rusev was the muscle guy. He was the power guy in this match. And I don't know if you heard me, but I told No Kills that during the match that he's the muscle guy. He's the guy that's in there to just kind of slam everybody like the Incredible Hulk. So I actually like that he was in the match because it added diversity to the match because you had a lot of high flyers and then you had the big bulky guy. So I think that they did good by having Rusev in the match. I, I like that. What I did not like is that it appears, just like you said, that he didn't really do anything in the match. You know what I mean? And if he was going to be the muscle guy, they should have had him doing more spots. He should have stacked up like two or three of them and just slam them and had the crowd going, "Oh, that was crazy!" Like for example, the RKO cutter that Javon did with Rusev was a good spot, and it was good for Rusev, by the way. That was a WrestleMania moment that he's a part of now with Javon Evans. I don't like the fact that Javon uses the RKO per se because I just think that it's the same NXT kids that want to be Stone Cold and The Rock and Shawn Michaels and this person and that. They're cosplayers, if that makes sense. And I feel like guys like Seth fell into that, but the only difference with Seth is he found his way. You know what I mean? So I look at Javon like that, but I like Javon as a talent. You know what I mean? Like I just like him. Even if he was a copycat, I still like Javon Evans. I don't know. I think he's great. I think he's really good. So Javon Evans doing the RKO, I was not a fan of per se, but I like it. And the reason I like it is because it was so good, it was so well done, and it was a great WrestleMania moment. He fucking, even though Rusev jumped for him, it was amazing. It was a good moment. It was a moment I enjoyed. It was fun. It was good. It was perfect. Perfect, positive, excellent. Exactly what the company needs. Okay. So I feel like Rusev for what he didn't do, he made up for that, and he made up for something else. That's what they should have did with Rusev. He should have had a moment like that where he slams people, but he didn't. He had the Javon Evans cutter moment. So I feel like they did their job. I feel he like I feel like he did his job. Javon did his job. The company did their job by having that moment, in my opinion. Okay, so but we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna go to the next match on the card, which is uh the WWE Intercontinental Championship, or am I wrong? No, the
I
US.
believe it was the
It,
U.S.
it's the US Championship. Sami Zayn, because I always used to say Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn uh, was your coveted WWE US champion, and he was going in competing against, the very charismatic and talented Trick Williams. Uh, I've liked Sammy in the past. I've seen the future in Sammy countless times. I've been a big fan of Sammy's work in the Bloodline. I thought it was fucking amazing, fantastic. Sammy's actually a funny guy. Sammy has charisma. He has charisma, but I don't know where that charisma has been. I have not seen it ever since after the Bloodline. I've seen passionate wrestling promos from Sami Zayn, but I have not seen that fucking passion that I've been looking for, man. And I don't know what happened.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, TKO stale programming and directive got to Sami Zayn, and he became fucking stale, kind of like Kevin Owens. He just became really stale and watered down, and his stuff just wasn't getting over. I haven't seen anything else from Sami Zayn that had me going crazy besides him speaking Lebanese when he went over to Bloodland, you know, and he was over there with those guys over there at that show. You know what I mean? So, uh, past that, at some point, I guess he got the United States Championship, and they pushed him. They did this thing with him, whatever. So you guys get this match, which I don't know what the fuck happened with that match. You got Maverick for that, but for me, uh, I think that I don't even remember Sami Zayn's entrance. I didn't even pay attention. But Trick Williams' entrance is something that blew my mind. Uh, I really saw Little Yachty coming in and just doing corny shit. I didn't know how good they were going to use Little Yachty, but I was anticipating and assuming that it was going to be garbage. And I was wrong about that. I was very wrong. It was not garbage. Little Yachty coming out and speaking and introducing and being the narrator for Trick Williams blew my mind. He did a great job, and I don't even like Little Yachty like that, but he did his shit. He did a good job, and he hyped up Trick Williams. Trick Williams is the guy right now, Absolutely great presentation. I got mad hype when I saw Trick Williams coming out, being
Mm.
showcased like a true superstar. He was on a pedestal. He looked great in that white, man, with the I guess he had been doing that for some time from what I was told, but I've never seen it, and I thought it was great. I thought his entrance was one of the most amazing things at WrestleMania. And I believe that he had a bit of a banger with Sami Zayn. It was also short, but I'm going to defend it and say that I thought for the time that it was on long enough to how long the match needed to be. So I felt like that match delivered all the way through. I don't think it was bad. I don't think nothing was bad. I just think that the company needs to fucking get a clue with Sami Zayn, and you need to get Sami Zayn back on his fucking Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, Cactus Jack, pedestal, and have him be the future. Go back to his Terry Funk shit when he was young bullshit, and just have him maybe bring back the hardcore title. Have him be the new face of fucking hardcore. Did you think about that? Maybe bring back the cruiserweight championship. Have Sami Zayn do something fucking important. Because if he's not gonna fucking jump Triple H or smack the shit out of Stephanie McMahon or do something that's gonna go nuts, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. His career is going in the fucking toilet. He might as well retire. So Sammy became very stale like that for me, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of fans feel that way. Trick Williams winning the United States Championship was the right creative call by the company. They did really good with that. I'm very, very happy and satisfied. Trick impressed me so much that I feel like I need to now start watching again just to watch him. That's how good he did. And if they can keep Little Yachty around a little while longer, I think they might have to do that because that felt amazing. But you know what? For WrestleMania, I think it was good. So probably they want to leave it alone. But I think that where I would go next is Trick Williams is involved with Last Legend. If you're not doing nothing else with Last Legend, just have her be with him. You know what I mean? Same with Carmelo. Carmelo needs Kilani Jordan by his side on TV. Just pair them together like you did with Gargano and Candice. Candice LeRae, is it? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Candice LeRae.
I like her. I think she's a fantastic, amazing professional wrestler. She deserves much better, just like Johnny Gargano. But Johnny Gargano can't work unless you have them be like in a couple relationship with. Be yourself, can be no one. Run that. That's the shit that I like. And then you'll have a good Johnny Gargano. Okay, folks. So I'll leave it at that, and then I'll pass you the mic and see what you got to say about it, man. What do you make about Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn?
Yeah, no, this match, I loved it. This match was fantastic. I've always been a fan of Trick Williams in NXT, and now he's fantastic. He's got aura. He's over with the fans,
I
as you
agree.
can tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but something happened during his entrance that wasn't supposed to happen. But he kept looking back awkwardly. If you like were paying attention or like you saw like him keep looking back behind him,
I was not. What
something.
happened there?
We're not entirely sure. We just know that something happened that caused him to keep looking back, and
What do you
so
think? What do you think it is?
from the looks of it, it looked like his robe, or they called it a train for his robe. Um, excuse me. It looked like it was supposed to um, go out farther, but it
Yeah.
didn't. Like it looked like it was supposed to keep going, and then eventually it was just supposed to like go off.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was moving with him instead of like actually extending the way it was supposed to.
Okay.
So again, I'm not entirely sure if that was the case or if it was something else that was causing him to do that. But he kept looking back at
Right.
at his train, and then the camera kept panning up whenever he did it to show like the train and how long it was. Because from my understanding, from what I saw, it looked like it was supposed to be as long as the ramp.
Okay. That's very interesting.
But
I didn't
yeah,
notice that.
yeah. So, anyways, as far as the match goes, fantastic. Love the match. Trick Williams winning was the right call, obviously.
Right.
Sami Zayn is not over with the fans. Carmelo Hayes
Okay.
should have never lost the title.
Okay.
I fully believe it
I
should have
agree.
been. I fully believe it should have been Carmelo versus Trick, even though we've seen that.
Ooh, that would.
Um, I even think that maybe you put Carmelo in this match and then you have Trick pin Sammy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but I really expected a double turn here.
Yeah.
I expected Trick to turn face and Sammy to turn heel, but we obviously didn't get to see that. But yeah,
Right.
Trick winning was the right call.
we got a bit of a tease there, some aggression from Sammy by the apron, but
Yes.
it didn't turn to anything. Uh, I really don't know because I could give a creative for what I think should where Sammy should go next, but it's like I feel like I can't do that because my JTV mindset on what I would do with Sami Zayn, where we would go, is different than how TKO does business. You know what I mean? Like I want to take Sami Zayn and make him the next Terry Funk, and I know I can do it. But TKO wants to take Sami Zayn and just keep him as a generic mid carder, and then just force him on everybody, until they just can't take it anymore, until they hate him worse or they love him more. It's just like a weird business sense. So
Right.
I don't know, but I really hope whatever is next for Zayn is important and compelling. Especially if I start watching again. I absolutely agree with you. Loved what you said. I love Carmelo. I think Carmelo should have definitely kept that championship. I remember Melo dropping the title to him. I did see that, some of that, and I was not happy. Wasn't really sure why we were doing that. And I see now that there was no reason why we were doing that. Now I see that. So
Right.
it's very unfortunate, but they need to get back with all those guys. They need to get back with Melo. I think with Melo, the answer is Kalani. I think with Sami Zayn, like I said, I mean, he I would just bring back the Hardcore Championship and just have him try to be the new King of Hardcore or something. I mean, you could turn him into a heel, and just have him talking shit like Terry Funk or something like that. And like, I think what would be really dope for a couple weeks, just have Sammy cut promo shoots and just have him talk shit about everybody. Have him talk shit about Triple H and Cena and Rock and everybody. And I think once you lower people in with that they're like, oh, Sammy's talking about everybody. Follow that up with a really dope storyline, and then since he's talking shit about everybody, you can have someone come out and confront him. I don't know who that is because I don't know what the roster looks like in terms of who we push and don't push. But I think that could set up for his next great storyline, and then you go from there into Backlash, whatever, something like that, maybe. Okay,
Right.
so we're gonna keep it moving though. Uh, so for the next match, we have a really strong, powerful, iconic wrestling match that took place between Dominic Mysterio and the Demon Finn Balor. And I'm trying to think back in my mind. I don't think that match was for a championship. No, Dom was just Triple A champion or something, Mega champion or something like that.
Right.
Um, I'm right.
Uh, say it one
I,
more time. I'm looking at the card now.
I believe I'm right. I believe it wasn't for a championship. That's what I'm saying.
The Dom versus Finn. No, it was not for a match. It was not for a
Okay.
title.
Okay, before I just get to this, I also want to say it's very unfortunate that we did not have a AAA match at Mania. I think that is unfortunate. Maverick alluded to that earlier. I agree with it that we could have had those guys at WrestleMania if we were not going to have AAA matches. It's just kind of ridiculous because that's a really important brand in my opinion in TKO's WWE right now. But nonetheless, uh, going back to this match, Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio fucking killed it, man. They had an
Absolutely.
absolute fucking banger. I love the match from beginning to end. Love what they did with Dominic Mysterio's entrance. Love the vibe and aura that I got when Finn came out. To hear that theme song again. This is for you guys, era. Some of you younger fans that started watching wrestling in 2015 or whatever the fuck. But I saw Finn Balor, and he's managed to get this demon character over. The first time I saw Finn Balor in Japan, I was going to bring him to JTV because he was doing the Carnage thing. You know what I mean? And I said, that's dope. I got to get him. And I downloaded him off of Communications. And then the next thing, he debuts on WWE under NXT umbrella. And I'm like, okay, now I don't want him. And ever since, he's done fantastic. It just he was held back by Vince or whoever. When he really should have, they should have really kept pushing him as a main event star. Uh, Finn Balor, in my opinion, tonight showed everybody that he's a main event star, a top world champion caliber, and so did Dominic Mysterio. They absolutely rocked the house. Loved the match. An absolute WrestleMania classic. Could have absolutely been the main event. Yada yada yada. All this other stuff. I wish that the Triple H Championship was on the line now that I think about it, because it would have been fantastic. You know what I mean? But they killed it. It was a great match. It definitely got the job done, in my opinion. I can remember that there were, I think, people who came out during that match. I can't remember now who it was who interfered during the match, but everything gelled well, so well. The way Finn Balor was treating that character in that match, the way he was kipping up, if you will, standing up, getting up, amazing, man. To me, it reminded me of guys like The Undertaker and Kane and shit like that, when they used to rise up.
Mm.
Finn Balor did an amazing job at WrestleMania with Dominic. I'm very proud of both men. Excellent match. I pass the microphone to Maverick.
Um, yeah, nobody. There was nobody that interfered in the match.
Okay, my
For
bad.
this one.
I'm getting the wrong match. My bad. Oh,
Yeah,
I
for
know
the
what it was. It was the next match that I'm thinking about. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. This match didn't have anybody interfere. Um, but yeah, no. This was on my review. So I lied earlier. My
Okay.
review that I did. I had the ladder match at number 3 for me, and then this was my number 2. I had this as my number 2 match of the night. Um, this was a very good match. Lived up to the hype. Obviously, Finn as the demon will always live up to the hype. Um, Dom worked it very well. Um, Overall, really good match. Don't have a whole lot to say. Um,
Right.
just because, like, I mean, again, you basically took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Finn and Dom just know how to work. Dom is the future of the business. Dom is going to be a world champion one day. Finn will one day, hopefully soon, before he, decides to hang it all up or whatever. Hopefully, will be world champion again. That's the hope, of course. But who knows? We'll probably see Becky Lynch hold a men's world title before we see Finn Balor hold another
Huh.
men's
According
title.
to TKO created, yeah.
Yes,
Something
exactly.
like that.
Um, but yeah, no, like I said again, I absolutely love this match. I love the fact that they actually decided to bring back the demon. I think they did it super well. His entrance was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't beat his NXT chainsaw entrance, but um,
Okay.
it was good nonetheless. If we could have more matches like this consistently,
Yeah.
I think we'd be in a better place.
On TV too, not just on pay-per-view,
Yes,
on TV,
yes,
weekly
yes,
TV. Yeah.
yes.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Amen to that. Amen to that. Call me a spoiled wrestling kid, but I don't give a shit. I just think that those are the type of matches we need on Netflix and on the weekly TV product. That's gonna have families going, "Yo, the world needs to watch." When I was watching in the Attitude Era with my mother, God rest her soul, part of what made me want to watch wrestling with my family was the fact that every show felt like an epicenter. It felt like the most important thing in the world every week. You just had to watch. I don't want wrestling, professional wrestling, the WWE to feel like, oh, you don't have to tune in. You could just watch it at the pay per view and catch up and this and that. I don't want that. I want TV to be compelling. I want all of us every weekend that we try to play, or not weekend, Mondays and Fridays. I would like to have the weekends free, TKO. Give us the weekends back. Stop going on the fucking weekends. Leave that to AAA. Go stick to the week. Maybe you have your pay per views on Sunday and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And have your weekly TV be hot, like Monday Nitro and the Monday Night Wars. Hot television, compelling television that you can sit there and it's like, you know you're not going to be disappointed. When we do JTV shows, we always make it our effort that you cannot go home disappointed. You're gonna watch JTV and you're gonna go, yo, like everything that happened here was amazing. These guys just they trying to really go in. These guys are trying to go viral. You know what I mean? And that's the type of wrestling I think should be on television every week. So I agree with Maverick that if we had television matches like that, can you fucking imagine a Monday Night Raw with you? You got the Demon Finn Balor. They could run a fucking rematch this week on
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor and Dom on television, and it would work. Only this time, be smart enough to fucking put the title on the line. You know what I mean? You can even do it on AAA if you want. You know, I would prefer that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But like, you guys did a good job. You have something here. Don't fuck it up. I think that it was so good that if they want to keep Balor and Dom going, they could probably keep it going. I think it's probably ran its course a little bit too. I kind of want to see something else with Finn, but I think that if they need them in a program long term, you know you could get a couple of programs out of them because you see how they perform. Great job with this match is what I have to say. Period. Okay. And I agree with everything Maverick said. So we're gonna go on to the last two matches as we get ready to close the show out. If y'all have any comments or anything like that, any questions, you can start popping those up right now. We want to continue to thank our viewers. We got 5 people listening in this late. Uh, Definitely, if you got questions for us, even JTV related, please throw it our way. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next match. Uh, Next match on the match card as we get ready for the main event, which I know Maverick is definitely ready to go in on that one because he's been waiting for that. We got ourselves a potential dream match that was written down for WrestleMania 41 or 42, I should say. And the potential dream match is Jay Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. TKO's WWE had been teasing for the longest time that I saw with my own 2 ears the possibilities of Jay Cargill versus Charlotte Flair. I don't want to see Jay Cargill versus Charlotte Flair. Personally, I don't want to see that match, but I understand globally that the gullible TKO WWE fan has been brainwashed and convinced and educated that Charlotte Flair is some kind of a top star, that she's a women's champion and all this other trash, just because of her daddy and just because of all these titles she got handed and this and that. So now that company has some of you gullible fans convinced that Charlotte is some kind of a commodity. I understand that. You know what I mean? You guys are gullible. You're cute kids. You know what I mean? Um, so from that standpoint, it's a big match. From the standpoint of reality, I mean, Charlotte is just Ric Flair's daughter, and she could have either a really shitty match with Jay Cargill, a pretty good match, or a really really good match. One of those three is what she can have with her. That's it. They didn't do it. They teased it for the longest time, and they didn't fucking do it at WrestleMania. Not sure why. So instead, we got Rhea versus Jay Cargill, which I'm not complaining because the match was fucking good. I liked Jay Cargill's attitude. I like her. They had a good fucking match for that women's championship. Not a fan that Rhea won the championship, but fucking loved the finish to the match. When EO came out running, I got a lot of energy that I was missing for a little bit, even though night 2 did go pretty good. And it was a good little spot. Raquel and Roxy were the ones that came out that I was thinking about earlier that interfered and it added to the match. And I did want the match to go on a little longer, to be fair, but it was good for what it was. They had a pretty banger of a match. Could have gone on a little longer, and Rhea gets the championship. I'm not really sure why. Jay Cargill needed to win that match because Jay Cargill is supposed to be working Charlotte Flair. So now it doesn't make any sense because now it's like if she's working Charlotte Flair, Charlotte is gonna be like, oh, why should I take you serious? You lost to Rhea. You see what I'm saying? So it just kind of doesn't make any sense to me. As is, Rhea's been kind of sick. So she shouldn't be winning any championship. She should be fucking getting ready to go home. She should have put over Jay Cargill. She should have went home and she should have gotten, on top of her health. As is, Rhea doesn't need to be on TV right now. Rhea has done her shit. She could take a break for a bit to refresh. Jay Cargill is who you should be focusing on if you're getting her ready for Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is who you should be focusing on if you're getting her ready for Jay Cargill, not putting her in fucking tag team division and all this other bullshit. And since they lost at WrestleMania in that match, I'm assuming the direction to go now is to turn either Alexa or Charlotte heel and they do their own thing. Because if not, I don't know what they're doing next. I can't see them going back after the tag team championships. It's not going to make sense, but I mean, whatever, to each their own, I guess. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Rhea did not need to win that match. I'm not very sure why she did. Okay. But the match I thought was great. I thought they did an excellent job. Everything about that match for me, I thought went good. I didn't have any issues with it besides the fact that Rhea won the championship, and I don't know why. So I pass it to Maverick.
Yeah, Jade shouldn't have lost. As far as why she lost,
Okay. Here we go. Here we
Rhea,
go.
Rhea's just over. And I mean, this is all there is to it.
Okay.
The fans love Rhea.
You're right.
She is a massive, massive, massive merchandise seller.
You're right.
She is over with the fans. The last couple of wrestling shows that I've went to that were where she was at, the fans went ballistic. The pops that she gets, the pops that she gets is insane. The I mean, just it's just the reactions. She's pretty good in the ring. There's some things that you know seems kind of repetitive with her.
Yeah.
Um, she's got the look that you see on social media a lot of men going, oh yeah, you know what, that's the person I would want to be with or whatever. And so you've got that going for that for her, I guess. As far as Jade goes, I don't know what the plan is for Jade. And I put this in my review. I said that I thought that Jade needed to win because Rhea didn't need this. Rhea didn't need to win. Rhea has been over for so long, and Rhea losing is just going to keep her over. If Jade would have retained, you give her more of an opportunity to grow as a wrestler in the WWE. You give her an opportunity to grow with her stable that she has now with Meechin and BFAD. Now you just have Cargill with two people. So what's the plan? Like, are you planning on Rhea losing it soon? Are you planning on what's the plan with it? Do you plan on Rhea just holding it for a little bit and then Jade coming back and taking the title from her, and then you're doing Charlotte versus Jade at 43? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's the plan here? As far as what they're doing with Charlotte, the only reason they put Charlotte with Alexa is so that Charlotte could get over with the fans again. And I will give them credit; it's worked.
It worked.
Um,
Yep. I agree. It
her
worked.
being with Alexa has worked.
Yep.
They did tease several times. Um, they did tease several times that there was going to be an altercation between the two. There never was. And so it kind of makes me think that there's not going to be. Because I feel like they know if there is an altercation and something happens, even though that Alexa would turn, Or if Alexa was the turn, they're probably going to cheer Alexa. But if
Right.
Charlotte was to turn on Alexa, you're back right where you started. You're back to where the fans are booing her, they don't like her, you're
But
stuck.
here's my thing about that that is just fucking weird to me. And the only thing that I get from it, of course, from a merchandise standpoint, I get it. But I mean, it's
Right.
Charlotte Flair. Her merchandise sells whether she's a face or not. People, they still go for it. They eat it up. So everybody knows that Charlotte Flair is a fucking worthless heel bitch. Everybody knows that. Why are we trying to get people to like her? Why
Right.
not embrace the hate, have her be the bitch that she is, like a Stephanie McMahon, and just have her continue to be the fucking worthless, evil tyrant bitch that's on top that doesn't have to do anything. She just puts her
Right.
arm in the air and it's an instant title shot. Why not continue that? Why do we have to have people like her and love her and treat her like she's a hero and a good person?
Mm.
It just doesn't make sense to me. That's where I have a disconnect with why we would do that, and it just feels like we're just trying to get people to like her because she's a part of the team. Wink, wink. She's a part of the money team, and we got to make her look good. That's what I get from that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way that we're doing it for merchandise. Her merchandise fucking sells.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So it just
Yep.
doesn't make sense to me. It seems like we're just doing her a solid for people to like her because that's the narrative we want to push because we don't want Charlotte Flair getting booed. We have to have her being cheered. She's one of our top stars. That's just the vibe that I get, and that's what it makes me want to hate her fucking more. So it's just something I don't understand about that, and I just want to add that into what you're saying and pass you the mic back.
Yeah, no. Like I said, it's just one of those things that you
I I, I,
kind of
de- I definitely rose. I raised the bar pretty fucking high with what I said, huh? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's interesting. It's
You
very
just
interesting.
you just don't know like what they're doing,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know that they they think they have a plan, but when here's the thing, okay, take this into account. Let's go to like the Daniel Bryan situation from whatever year that was. When, they were doing the whole WrestleMania thing, the whole time it was supposed to be Batista versus Randy Orton for the world title, for the WWE Championship, or the world title, whatever. Well, Daniel Bryan got so over, they had to pivot. You know,
yeah.
um, the fans have more control than people give. Um, you know, again, for instance, look at the whole R-Truth thing. You know, R-Truth got let go. The fans hated it. The fans posted about it. They were like, we want him back. Guess what happened? They got him back. I mean, look at Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was out of his match. No, we want Cody. We want Cody. Okay, fine. We want Cody. He's back in the match. All right,
Right,
perfect. Like the fans have control. If the fans are going to hate Charlotte Flair, they're going to hate Charlotte Flair. If
right,
they're going to like, Alexa Bliss over Charlotte, they're going to like Alexa over Charlotte, which is a
right.
no brainer. Um, but as far as the WrestleMania match goes, again, fabulous match. Thought it was great. Um, there were some things I think could have been better. Obviously, I think that they did the best they could, and I think that this was probably the best women's match of the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. I thought they did an excellent job. I was expecting it to be a bit of a board fest, a little bit, or all right, and it turned out a little bit better than all right. It was great. I definitely enjoyed it, and it went how I did not think it was going to go. Much better than I thought it would go. So, because this match was definitely getting a lot of hatred from a lot of people like around me and from people that I've seen in social media. Because one of the things I look for in social media is like how fans react to certain people. That's one of the things I study about the internet. How it is with the wrestling fans. What makes them react? What doesn't make them react? I usually keep my eye on that market, so I know how a lot of wrestling fans feel specifically about Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? But I don't give a damn how they feel about Jade Cargill. I'm all for what is the good things for professional wrestling. And we absolutely dropped the ball with Jade Cargill not retaining the championship. That was a mistake. That shit is stupid. It just doesn't make any sense creatively. I don't care how over Rhea is. I understand that she may be over and that she is over and stuff like that. I get it, but she could be over and do something else. She didn't need to be over to where she has to go back to having the championship, man. This completely ruins Jay Cargill now. This fucks her stuff up. So now it just feels like what's left. You know what I mean? Jay Cargill got to get back on the hunt now. She has to start all over again. It's just stupid. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna put her on like a really shitty fucking TKO angle where she's gonna go to NXT and then now go after the NXT title or some stupid shit like that? Like I just get tired of the way they do things. It just doesn't make sense. Now they can't convince me of Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill because Jade lost the title to Rhea. She's not the shit. You see what I'm saying? Again, Rhea did not need to win the match. Rhea is a fucking monster. Rhea's a dominator. Rhea's been champion multiple times. She's done her shit. She is amazing. Love Rhea Ripley. But she didn't need it. She could have lost. She could have went home, went on vacation for a bit, and then come back for something else, man. Could have came back for SummerSlam or whatever the fuck. You didn't need to go over. Now she has a championship, and I just don't know what's next for Jay Cargill. I can't see anything else. She's got her faction. What now? How are you supposed to convince your faction that you're good when you lost? You lost the title. Is she gonna go after her faction now? B Fab, she's gonna beat them up? That doesn't sound very compelling to me. You know what I mean? So I just think it's just dumb. It's just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care how over Rhea is. You know, uh, you could have still made money with Rhea because she's over without her being the fucking champion. She doesn't need to be the champion. You guys are fucking dumb. You're just dumb. You never know what the fuck you're doing. You're just dumb. Okay, so
Right.
if you want to add to that, add to it before we go to the main event. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna answer this question or this thing here that 7-11, I guess that's how you say it. That they posted in here um about Charlotte. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Like I agree with that. Um, I do think it's crazy as well. However, in my opinion, you can't be a top heel if the fans are straight up, you know, turning off the TV to not watch Charlotte. Because I remember I went to a show not too long or like a while back, and when Charlotte came out, people were literally walking out to go to the restrooms. Like,
Yeah.
and then recently I got to see them in a tag team match, and everybody was seated. Everybody was watching. They were cheering for Charlotte when she came out. I went to
Right.
the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, and Charlotte returned there, and I got to see them react, and they were cheering and clapping, and they were happy to see her and all. You know,
Yeah.
so the thing is yes, while you know she was feeding her ego or whatever, um, I
Yeah.
feel like you have to fix what's broken, and what was broken is is Charlotte ultimately, and so
Okay.
they fixed it, I feel like, and they're
Yeah.
continuing to fix it. But the
Yeah.
moment that she turns is not going to be good. But that's all I got to say.
The moment when Charlotte turns,
Yeah, I feel like the moment when Charlotte turns, it just goes all the way back to where you started.
why do you feel that?
Well, one, um, I think the fans got tired of seeing her be the
Like on top.
one but yeah, they got tired of
winning
seeing
it.
her on top, but
Yeah.
also they got tired of seeing her as the one that came back to take the title because that's
Right.
all that
Right.
happened. She would come
Yeah.
back, she'd take the title, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I I could look up how many times she returned, won the title, dropped it, left. Came back, won the title, dropped it, left. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
rinse and repeat every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yep. I agree with all of that, and it makes sense. But I mean, it's very interesting because um, from that perspective, which you just put it, I could see why actually we made Charlotte a face and put her with Alexa now because that shit got old, you know.
Very.
So I could see why we did this, but I think it's a disservice to the wrestling and to Alexa because Alexa seemingly is a great person who's a hardworking girl in wrestling that I mean, I have heard stories about her being a bit of a gym rat, but I mean, I haven't seen nothing like that, man. I didn't see her fucking dating CM Punk and then Randy Orton and then I didn't see her with a bunch of different guys like Lola Vice, respectfully. Lola been with a few dudes on there and NXT and whatnot, and Damian Priest now. I haven't seen that from Alexa. I've seen Alexa be with one guy. Well, no, that's not true. She was with hey yo, what's his name? Hey yo, bang bang or whatever the fuck. Used to be with Big Cass. Enzo Amore, no?
Oh, Enzo Amore. Yep.
They used to be together. Am I right or wrong about that?
Yeah. It was Enzo and
So
Cass.
so Lexi used to be with him. She was with somebody else, and then eventually she's with this other guy that gave her a kid. I didn't see a lot of craziness from Lexi. I mean, to be fair, I'm not saying Charlotte as a whole neither, but I've seen her with a couple people too. You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is that it's been made very clear to us that Charlotte is a piece of shit compared to Alexa. And I think that it's a disservice to put her with Alexa because it's like, yo, like, you guys are trying to make us believe that Charlotte is what she's not. We know Charlotte is not a baby face. We know she's not a hardworking, good guy that respects the rules. She don't give a fuck about all that. So why are you pushing this? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's like you taking the Joker, right? And you try to make him into like Batman. Oh, he's working with Batman now, and he's snitching on Penguin, and he's a good guy now, and Joker, he's doing things the right way, and he's working with Commissioner Gordon now. He's working with Batman, and you know what I mean? Like that's how I look at it, Maverick. Just so you understand why I have this taste for Charlotte, all of you. Like that's what I know. That's what I understand. So it's weird for me and like to see how gullible a lot of these simps of hers and the Bellas and all of them are that they'll accept that, they'll eat that, and they'll believe it. I don't believe it. How
Hmm.
is it that you guys buy into this shit like rat poison, but I don't? Because I see what they're trying to do. I see it a mile away, so I don't buy into it. I reject it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people accept it. So it's just fucking weird for me. It's not the creative I would have went with. I either would have sent Charlotte away for like a year or two to refresh her, if that's the case, or I would have just had her be the fucking bitch that she is, and that's it. There's no reason to change anything else. You want to turn her into a baby face? I mean, I think it's embarrassing that she needed Alexa to turn to a baby face because she's so fucking boring and bland that she can't get herself over as a baby face. But whatever. That's just my opinion. Let's see if we close the show out so we can get out of here. It's getting late. So it's time to talk about this fucking main event. We're gonna close this out. The replay for you guys who catch this at the end of the show are really gonna like this because this is the time right now. We're gonna go into the heavyweight championship match. Okay. Main event time. So this main event was definitely better than the night one main event. I did
Absolutely.
I did not want to see CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. I did not care about it. I feel like it should have happened last year. Seth shouldn't have had the title. It should have been Punk. And it should have been last year that we got Roman and Seth, in my opinion. And you know what? Mind blown, because just when I thought that, Phil goes out with Roman and they fucking kill it. They killed it. This was a classic for WrestleMania. I did not expect it at all. I mean, I expected a little bit, but not a lot. And they did good. Great fucking main event. Great match. I liked everything that happened. No Sela, which is unfortunate. I don't know that we needed him with such a great main event like that. The right guy won. Roman has the championship. He saved the WWE from the bullshit. Um, I think it went fine. You know what I mean? It was a good close. It was a good match. Everything was fantastic about it. Now I hope that with Roman having the championship, I hope that he's going to take WWE and make it healthy again, and that they're going to do good stuff with him and put him in good matches with people who deserve to get a shot at that title. In terms of CM Punk, I would say, just send his fucking ass home with April, have them take some time off, get refreshed. Maybe he could come back for SummerSlam, or maybe he can even come back in the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? And we good to go. You know, it's just that simple. What you got, Maverick? This is your moment to shine. You wanted to talk about that match.
Yeah,
Close out the
no,
main event. You're the main event. Go ahead.
yeah, no. This was my match of the weekend. Absolutely love this match. Thought it was great. The storytelling was fantastic. Punk's entrance, my gosh,
Yeah, that's cool.
it was fantastic. Loved it. Um, his jacket was cool with the dedication to all of the members in the WWE that had passed away. That was really cool.
I did not notice that. I
Yeah,
got to go
and
back and look at that.
he had names on his shirt or on his jacket, and apparently the jacket was also a um it it was a throwback to his ROH days. The whole attire was a throwback to his ROH days, but the jacket was a um, tribute to Harley Race, um,
Hmm.
which was pretty cool. And then, like I said, he had the names of people that were in WWE as like cameramen and different tech producers and things like that had passed away recently. So I thought that was
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. Roman's entrance was great as always with a live pianist and
Yeah,
little
big fan.
string quartet and stuff. That was cool. Um, as far as everything else goes in the match, again, like I said, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was the length that needed to be. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
it wasn't too short, and it wasn't too long. I feel like it was perfect for that match, um, and I felt like it was everything it needed to be. At the end of the day, Roman won, and here's the thing: I was very very worried with 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 Roman winning. Um, I was really worried that we weren't going to see him often. I was really worried that he was going to just kind of win and then disappear
Yeah.
and not like be there or whatever. But he announced, and again, I don't know what this means. I don't know anything, but he practically announced on the post show when it ended and we actually came on the air. He announced that he was going full time and he would be basically on the road this summer with WWE. Um,
Nice. Nice.
so that's really big news. Um, and I don't know when or anything, but it seems like he already has his first challenger. Also, during the post show, Oba Femi called out Roman. Um,
Oh shit.
so those are there. As far as Punk goes, I'm a big Punk fan. Love Punk. I know that you have your opinions on him and such. Um, I love Punk though, and
I still like Punk. I just think he's become corporate. There's nothing wrong with that. I've been very open about that. I haven't
right, right,
been,
right.
yeah,
Well, I think that it may be time for him to take a little time off.
yeah,
He has been working hard and has been
yeah. I
um,
agree.
trying to carry everything with Seth being injured and everyone else being injured. So,
Yeah,
um, again, I think him and Roman put on the best match of the weekend.
yeah,
Um, I personally, this is just me. I expected there to be a some sort of like hint at, or maybe even an appearance from, Mr. Dwayne himself
yeah,
to tease the WrestleMania 43 match that's rumored between him and Roman. But I guess they're
yeah.
going to try to save that for another time. With it being
Okay.
TKO, I could for sure see them having Roman win the Rumble, or not Roman, I'm sorry, The Rock win the Rumble and challenge him at Mania. But I hope that's not the case. Hopefully, Roman doesn't hold.
Well,
I say that Roman will hold on to this title for a while.
I mean, I think that Rock versus Roman is a dream match that we still have to do. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm all for the new guys. I want the new guys to get over, but we're not there yet. So this is what I'm proposing. What I think, since we don't have guys that are over enough yet, TKO, y'all need to spend the rest of this year, and we got January. After January will be the Rumble. So you need to spend the rest of this year trying to build on people to be main event caliber stars. And then by the Royal Rumble, if you don't have someone that could challenge Roman for the title, you need to bring The Rock in to win the Royal Rumble. I know that sounds bad, but you need a big main event for WrestleMania, the next one. We still need to do Rock and Roman. You don't want to wait for the Rock to get older and Roman to do this fucking match. Okay, so I would say build people for the Royal Rumble all year long, and if LA Knight or whoever is not over enough to where you need them, have Rock come in, win the Royal Rumble. Rock goes to WrestleMania to work Roman, uh, and you can do something maybe interesting, and I say maybe because I want to watch Rock and Roman get it on one. I don't want nobody else in that match. But maybe you got a fucking guest referee, and the guest referee is like whoever it is that you're trying to have go against that person next for the title. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
let's say we put it on Rock, but whoever the guest referee is, who's going to beat Rock for the title or Roman for the title. You know what I'm saying? And it could fuck around be Obafemi. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds good to you, but I just think that you need to do something that we're not normally doing. And we need to get Rock and Roman out of the way. And I think this WrestleMania should be it to protect the integrity of guys that we're trying to build into a Rock or a Roman.
I
This
fully
is,
agree.
what I mean? It protects you. It protects you from safety so that everything is okay. Have that way we also get the match done and over with. Uh Roman needs to beat The Rock, right? But The Rock can beat Roman if The Rock is going to put over
The
whoever it is
effort,
that's
yeah.
going to. Right, right. If whoever it is that's going to face Rock after, if Rock is going to lose, then he could beat Roman. But if not, it's not going to make any sense. And I think the only sense that it make is that he just beats The Rock. Rock goes away. That makes sense to me. And then whoever is next, Roman deals with them, and then they beat Roman, whether it be LA Knight or whoever it is that they want to push. Trick Williams, maybe. You know what I mean? Trick could work. For that spot. I think that by the next time WrestleMania is done, I think Trick will be ready to challenge for the championship. And I don't want to say three-way match because I just don't see it. Rock and Roman need to be in that ring alone. It has to mean something, you know. Even if it's elimination, I don't care. I want it to be one on one. So that's just my opinion. But I don't know. We will see. We will definitely see what's going to happen with that. Another thing I want to add to this before we close the show out is I forgot to mention the really cool segment with Danhausen at WrestleMania and The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was entertaining. I know probably not everybody liked it. I liked it. I thought it was great. It was a good way to use Danhausen. I like the little guys being there. They should do that more often. Love the Miz. And I thought the segment was so good that I don't even like the Yes Boys. And now I like Kit Wilson. Now I like Kit Wilson because he looked like a star the way he was dressed. I just like how he looked. I was like, okay, all right. You know, I liked how they used him. You know what I mean? And I think that I like the connection now that he's having with the Miz, whatever it is. So they did a good job with that segment completely, in my opinion. And Cena being a part of it just added more flavor to it. Great job with night two. If you notice, a lot of what we talked about was positive about night two after that debacle that was the opening when they decided to end that match too soon. The only other thing that I would take away from it is too much fucking commercials this weekend, TKO. Way too much. Way too much. So I'm done. You could close the show out, Maverick, whenever you're ready. Maverick's going to take us home.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. I I think that again, I think ESPN needs to sit down. They need to go through everything, see what went right, see what went wrong. Definitely look at what went wrong, um,
Agree.
because there was more that went wrong than went right. They need to look at that, and then WWE needs to do the same thing. They need to sit down. They need to do that. You know, they need to stop worrying about denying people for media credentials and focus more on, making the product better. Focus on, doing things better. Because that's just a bad look. If you're more focused on trying to keep people out of the building instead of that, then it's an issue. And so, ultimately, I hope the show continues getting better. I look forward to watching tomorrow and see what they've got up their sleeve, because it's a new era and it's why we do what we do. And
Yeah, I mean, you got to definitely watch. You know what I mean? It's your job.
yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
so, and I know you may not, but if I was you, I would encourage you to, at least watch tomorrow, just to see, how bad they can screw it up and keep you away for much longer. Um, but you never know. Maybe they'll actually see the stuff, take the criticism, and say, you know what, it's time to turn a new leaf and fix this thing.
Yeah.
And who knows, they may say, wow, I'm seeing that they said they hated the commercials, so let's add more commercials. Here's
Right.
an hour length long version of, because, and I'll add this and then I'm done. But Friday, they had made the last hour of SmackDown commercial free, and they went into the hour that they were making commercial free, and they went into a commercial, and everybody was like, "What?" And they got clowned for it, and then we ended up coming out, and then they were like, "We're going to take the next 45 seconds commercial free after this break," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And or they were like, we're gonna the next 45 minutes is commercial free. We'll hear from Cody Rhodes next live on SmackDown, and then they took a break, and I'm like, what? I thought you just said it was commercial free. And then they come back, and after that, they're commercial free. They were commercial free for maybe 40, 30 minutes,
Right.
you know. So, again, like I said, maybe give them a chance, watch them tomorrow, and see how god awful it is, and then turn it off or whatever. But,
Right.
um, I'm intrigued now with Roman being full time, quote unquote, um, and Oba challenging him. I'm interested to see what they do, and I'm
Yeah.
interested to see if Punk's on tomorrow and what he has to say. Um,
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but yep, that's I'm done.
Yeah, well, I don't really have anything to add to that. At 3:30, we're going to close this show out. Want to thank everybody that tuned in. For all you guys that watched the replay, smash that like button. Definitely leave a comment on what you think about WrestleMania, if you agree or disagree with what we had to say. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one, whenever that will be, on a City of Impact or another podcast or something special in between. All right. I want to definitely thank my guests for helping me, Maverick, here tonight. And Kevin Impact and Maverick are signing out. Good fight, good night.